Hello, those of you who are here. It's me, Duncan, and it's great to see you here at the DTFH Live. Had a huge revelation on the way over here. Big epiphany, which is I'm always going to be late. And I don't know how I've tricked myself into thinking I'm going to be on time for these or any of the things I do online, but I have. And what that does is it produces a lot of anxiety for me. So all this insane guilt comes exploding into my brain. Like, you can't even imagine what it's like. It's the most neurotic, insane reaction to being late to anything. Like, I mean, it's probably the same feeling a doctor has when their patient begins to die on the table. That's how my brain reacts to being late. And whenever you have a thing like that inside of you, you can be certain that this was implanted in you by one of your parents, guaranteed. And I hate it when people blame shit on their parents, but you have to. Your DNA, your eye color, all of it, it's your parents' fault. Your mom, let me explain something to you as we're gearing up to go here. Your mom and your dad, they cross paths one day. You maybe know the story, maybe you don't. I do know the story. Your mom, one night, was just kind of sitting at her apartment, and she was watching TV, and a hot dog commercial came on. And your mom saw that commercial and said to herself, God damn, I want to suck some big fat cock tonight. I need to find a big old dick. And so your mom went out to this dive bar she used to go to whenever she wanted to bang or get banged down. And your dad was in there just hammered. He'd been day drinking, and his eyes were blurry from drinking so much and from undiagnosed diabetes. He'd been having sugary tropical drinks. And your mom had become so horny that she was no longer rational. And so somehow she saw him drinking a tropical drink with an umbrella and some cherries in it. I think it was like a Mai Tai or something. Not very good. Your dad didn't like it. The bartender wasn't good at making tropical drinks and had been making fun of your dad for hours for drinking these tropical drinks. And your dad kept saying to the bartender, this is as close as I can get to a fucking vacation, man. You know, I don't have the money to go to Hawaii right now. I'm a gambling addict. And so your mom somehow managed to like transform the vision of your father, his pallid complexion, his bloodshot eyes, and that umbrella into, like, in her mind, she thought it's kind of like Hemingway. And so she sat down one chair away from him. She did the middle chair thing, and she ordered a tropical drink because she knew that that would probably catch his attention, which it did. And your dad said to your mom, I guess we're both on vacation, honey. And she was just so horny, and she knew she had to be at work really early in the morning and didn't have time to like get in a long bar conversation. She's like, if you come with me now, I will just suck your cock all night long. And so your mom and your dad left the bar. They walked to your mom's place, which wasn't that far away. And yeah, your mom just blew your dad, but she was so horny. She's like, you know what? Fuck it. You only live once. And she climbed on top of your dad, and he came within seconds. And she, right after he came, said, I'm not on birth control. And he said, I just got to throw up. And he went and he threw up. And that's the story of where you came from. Now, because of the interaction between the DNA of your father and the DNA of your mother, so many things about you were predetermined. We've seen the studies that have been done on twins, and it's one of the damnedest things you've ever seen when it comes to free will. Don't watch documentaries on twins if you want to really entertain the notion that you're some kind of autonomous agent moving through your life with some kind of free will. Because twins, they marry like the same person, basically. They find the doppelganger of each other's wives, and they fucking marry them, or husbands, or whatever. It's crazy. They end up in the same jobs. They're both firemen or bankers or whatever. And so there you see that much of what we think of as is free will is not quite what we thought. And don't even get me started when it comes to when a decision is made versus when you think you've made a decision. You think you've made a decision. You're sitting there at your house and you think to yourself, you know what? Fuck it. I will have a bowl of cereal. It's 2 a.m. You think you've been thinking about that, like really kicking it around in your head. Maybe I won't, you say to yourself. Maybe tonight will be the night I don't have that bowl of cereal, but you already made the decision. Neurologically, they can track it. The decision was made. You're gonna have a bowl of fucking cereal, but you've managed to produce a kind of cloud of thought or before the decision, which gives you the illusion of free will. You might as well be locked inside of a pale, stubbly Japanese battle robot, except it doesn't fight Gojiras. It eats cereal, it jerks off. That's you, just up there in the very top of that fucking thing. And in the same way, we will sometimes, I don't know if they even do this anymore because of laws, but in the old days, to get your kid distracted pre-iPad, they had these steering wheels you could stick in the front seat or in the back seat, and the kid would just think they were driving the car. And I know this is real because whenever I play PlayStation with the kids, I'll give the youngest a controller that's not connected and the oldest a controller that's connected, and they both think that they're controlling the character. They have no idea. And so this phenomena doesn't end in childhood. It just, the character you think you're controlling is you. And meaning that you shouldn't be hard on yourself in the way that you probably are, any more than you should be hard on yourself if your mom, and she was a shitty driver, your mom is a shitty driver, horrible driver, horrible driver. And she is, in fact, I would say one of the worst drivers ever, in the sense that she doesn't know she's a bad driver. She thinks she's the best driver. And that's the most dangerous kind of driver. Not only is she a distracted driver, your mom texts all the time when she's driving. Not only is your mom completely oblivious to where she is at any given time. She is constantly lost, but she pretends that she isn't. Your mom is a liar. Your mom will make up a reason that she's lost. She'll say, oh, I just needed to stop over here, because she's kind of a narcissist. And she can't bear just saying, yeah, I fucked up. I don't know where I'm going. That's crazy. Your mom's like that, but your mom is very good at fellatio. That's something your mom is so good at. And so many men talk about it and think about your mom. Not in any kind of deep way. They just think about, that was like the best blowjob I had in my life. Don't be hard on her either. See, now you're thinking, oh my God, is this, I don't want to think about this. But don't, in the same way that you have very little control over what you do, your mom has very little control over what she does. And genetically, she's great at blowjobs. That's something you could take comfort in, because this was not learned. Like some people learn how to give blowjobs over time, like a student, and they are experts at it. They study porn, they watch porn, they pick up in the same way like skateboarders watch skating videos. Some people watch porn. And they're like, wow, okay, that's a really cool technique. Or that's an evolution of the cup the balls technique or whatever. Your mom, right out the gate, like very similar, if you've read Frank Herbert's Dune, to Muad'Dib, who knew how to put on the still suit. He just knew. He knew the ways of the desert. He had not been trained. He was born on a water planet, and yet somehow completely familiar with Arrakis, the desert planet. This is your mom, the Muad'Dib of sucking dick. Like, just, we're talking a combination of things. Genetics from your grandmother, who was also incredible at blowjobs, and your great-grandmother for generations of just natural blowjobbing. But past life stuff too. in past lives, in like 50 past lives, your mother worked at brothels and harems. And so essentially we know that in Tibet, there's two ways of looking at this. One is the cynical, secularist, hyper-materialist. I'm a Westerner, so I know everything because of my cursory scanning of articles on Medium regarding science. And you could just say, well, this is just bullshit, that there's people who actually will like find reincarnated Tibetan lamas. They're called tulkus. They'll find these tulkus, these kids who have this, like, from what I've heard of people who've met these kids, they're not kids. They just seem like adults. They seem like if you went into a VR game and you decided to walk around as a little Tibetan kid, but you're a 40-year-old or something. They seem like that, except they're not creeps. But why would that only happen with people who are spiritually advanced bodhisattvas who are choosing to incarnate in the human realm, not because of any reason other than to help ease suffering? Why would that only happen there? Your mom, she reincarnated here over and over and over again because she loves giving blowjobs. And in the other planes of existence, it's not the same. In the realm of the gods, everyone's good at giving blowjobs and everyone can suck their own dick. In the hell realms, nobody can get hard because they're in so much pain. In the animal realms, no one appreciates a blowjob. They forget about it because they don't have the ability to remember in the same way the humans do. So the human realm is not just the perfect realm to incarnate in if you're interested in awakening, becoming a bodhisattva, easing suffering, and eventually saying goodbye to the infinite cycle of birth and death known as samsara. It's also a great place to incarnate in if you love giving blowjobs. And that's your mom. And who are we to judge that? You shouldn't. It's your mom. You were woven together in her womb. You were there in her womb, growing, your heart beating as she was on her knees in porn theaters and glory holes, pregnant, but still doing what she loved. And I think there's something inspirational in that. There we go. So here's what we're going to do, guys. That wasn't really the podcast. Maybe it should be, actually.
That was very scary. I ate cereal at 2:22 in the morning. I ate Pops after I jacked off.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was very scary. And then my wife's sister, husband, has the same exact birthday as me. And we're both kind of calm people.
What do you think your mom was doing?
No, that part was untrue. So
now,
so not all there.
Look, let me just be woke for a minute here. This prohibition on women being great at blowjobs is fucked up. And it is the most insane paradox on earth. Like, what are we doing? You're going to shame somebody for that? As a man, you should be ashamed if you're shaming anyone for giving blowjobs to strangers. You should be ashamed because who are you to judge? Number one. Well, I know you. I know what you did in college. I don't care. Call it what you want. Sure, you're straight, whatever. I know what you did in college. And you know what you did in college. And it's crazy that you, with all those nights, are judging the ladies for that. And you should stop because it's anytime you judge them, you're judging yourself implicitly. The difference is they don't hide it. What you did, you hide. You're ashamed of it. You feel bad. You're confused. Who cares? Let it go. Drop it. Just, you were on ecstasy. Sometimes you weren't. The point is, we have to start thinking now, friends, about intelligence. That's what I'm getting at here. Because right now, the subject of intelligence is the number one most important topic on planet Earth. It's more important than climate change. It's more important than colonizing the moon or Mars. It's way more important than the economy. It's more important than geopolitics. It's more important than immigration. It's more important than education. The subject of intelligence is as important as the study of physics preceding the creation of the atom bomb. This should be the primary number one focus for globally, is trying to understand what intelligence is. Because right now, as far as I could tell, we don't understand it at all. We have a really insane variety of definitions of intelligence. And it's insane in the sense that it's the primary quality of human beings. It's what separates us from the animals. It's what separates us. It's the number one separator. It's the thing that makes us special, unique. And it's like the way fish can breathe underwater. But and fish don't understand what the fuck that is. They don't even know they're in water. Probably, unless you're a flying fish. That's where you are. They don't think about it at all because they're fucking fish. But humans, you would like to imagine, were somehow a little more advanced than fish. I don't know if you've ever had a goldfish. I have. And who am I to ascribe intelligence to a fish? But I'm pretty sure they're dumb as fuck. They just don't strike me as that smart. And I know I'm trying to humanize fish, but when I see fish, I just think that's a dumbass. Look at it. It's just expressionless, going in circles. Even in huge aquariums, they still go in circles. I think the cuttlefish is probably a little smarter. They seem clever and kind of shitty to each other, and kind of sociopaths down there. They seem to think it's funny when things are being eaten by sharks, or they just seem gossipy. But most fish, dolphins, I think sea turtles are pretty smart actually. But the point is, they don't know what's going on. They're not thinking about that they can breathe underwater. When you catch a fish and pull it onto your boat, you'll notice what it does. It flops around because it's what the fuck? Why can't I swim here? It doesn't understand. It's not in water anymore. Just this water is weird. And so humans, this is our defining quality, is intelligence. And we have a million different definitions for it. We have emotional intelligence. We have all kinds of intelligence, but we don't quite understand it. There's intelligence based on the human brain. It's because of the brains. There's a million brain scan studies that have been done to try to identify what is the source of thinking in the human brain. And yet, you will find people with traumatic brain injuries where that part of the brain is gone, yet they still seem to demonstrate qualities associated with that part of the brain. Or you'll see slime molds, no brain at all, somehow capable of feats of navigation that shouldn't be possible. So the reason we have to be thinking about intelligence right now is because the number one game changer of our time right now is what we're calling artificial intelligence. And because of our thinking regarding this, all kinds of shit is happening or not happening in the world. Primarily, if you look at the new bill that Trump is putting out, that he's calling the big, beautiful bill. So he's trying to compress all of his policy into one bill. There's an embarrassing online feud happening right now between the most powerful man on earth, arguably, at least politically, and the richest man on earth. Musk and Trump are fighting like bitches right now. And it's embarrassing. It's cringy to watch those two squabble like old queens. like hungover queens at a brunch where the service is slower than they'd like. And nobody likes it. We all think it's embarrassing. The whole fucking thing, all of it. It's just I barely watch the stuff anymore. But within that bill, there is something of interest to me, which is they want to completely deregulate artificial intelligence for the next decade. And that's a curious thing to see land in that bill. You know, most of the other stuff that people are pissed off about, it doesn't surprise me that much. You know, anything like that is making like rich people richer, should that surprise you at all? Is that shocking when a super rich person becomes the president? And who are his friends? You think he's hanging out with people who work at fucking DQ? You think he's like friends with nannies or friends with people who work in Amazon warehouses? That those people just call him up. Did you have a hard day today? Saw the news. Damn, the reporters ate you alive today. Jeez, Musk is being a real bitch. Hold on, I gotta hang on. I'll be right back. My fucking asshole manager is pissed, but it's still my break. No, he's whoever he's talking to, you could be certain on the phone, and no doubt he has just like bullshit conversations. I'm assuming they're all probably, not to be pessimistic, wealthier than any of us will ever be. And so when he's thinking about what he should do, he's not thinking in terms of like people other than himself and his friends, because he's human, and that's generally how people are, unless they're saints or something. But that AI deregulation part, that should really catch your eye. That's fascinating. Well, first of all, you have to wonder, how did that make it in there? Who told him to do that? Does he strike you as somebody who spends a lot of time making AI videos? You think Trump is vibe coding when he's not working, like many of us are? You think Trump has sat down with Gemini or Claude to see if he could whip up a tarot card app that uses jiffies instead of tarot cards and comes up with a new interpretation for each jiffy? I just did that 2 days ago. Less than 3 hours, made the fucking app. No, of course not. So somebody told him to do that. Now you have to wonder, why? Why? Now, it wouldn't be that hard to figure out who told him to do that. It's the guy he's fighting with on Twitter right now, no doubt. Musk probably got that in there because he understands that regulation of AI is going to fuck up the country, because if we regulate AI and China doesn't regulate AI, then China is going to have a super intelligence before we do. And the moment any country gets a super intelligence, it's going to be 1,000,000 times more impactful than the first country to discover how to split the atom and pull off an atom bomb. So the reason that is in that bill is because the US government is apparently lucid when it comes to AI. They understand that the next 10 years are potentially, as far as modern civilization goes, the most important 10 years in human history. You know, as far as like our civilization goes. The reason that the next 10 years is super important, and potentially the reason it might appear that no one gives a fuck about the national debt, is because there has been a mutual understanding of what's going to transpire over the next 10 years is going to be so radically insane that all of the things that we use to quantify a successful economy, a successful civilization, are just going to be out the fucking window. And I am not being hyperbolic. That is dead on. And might I just add, being one of the top 5 most intelligent people on planet Earth is a burden for me. And I've been getting constant DMs from people asking if I'm upset because I moved from 5 to 6. No, I'm not. I'm fine. It doesn't bother me at all. I was in the top 5, and then this fucking piece of shit 6-year-old suddenly made it into the top 5, and that fucker is a savant. And let me just tell you something. People like me who earned our intelligence don't care about savants. Like that, there should be a different list for savants. The people in that top 5, which I still consider myself in, by the way, are people who earned their intelligence. We committed to lots of acid trips, lots of mescaline trips, sleep deprivation, no FAP experiments. We are Redditors, and some of us are mods. And this little shit got in a car accident and hit his fucking head in just the right way, and now he's one of the smartest people on earth. It's not the same. It doesn't matter. It's a different subject for a different podcast, but there should be a different list for savants, period. And I wish that had made its way into the bill. They didn't earn it. Now, to get back to what I'm talking about, this is so important. You could parse through that fucking bill and you can like just create piles. And, you know, here's the pile of shit they're doing to satisfy the super PACs. Here's a pile of shit they're doing for their own personal gain. Here's a pile of shit they're doing to appeal to their base. And then there's shit like the no regulation on artificial intelligence that is real weird that it made its way in there. And all you got to do is just take a cursory look right now at what's happening with AI. And I know I talk about this all the time. I talk about it in the same way if aliens were about to invade. That's all I would talk about. If we knew an alien invasion was happening, if for NASA spotted the Anunnaki, the Nibiru, the 10th planet or 12th planet, whatever the fuck, a secret planet floating out there that every 15,000 years or so gets close to planet Earth. And when it does, some terrible shit happens. The things that created us, the elder gods return to Earth. I would be talking about that. And if you were talking about anything other than that, who cares? Like if we knew for sure, there is a fleet, there's a fucking fleet of starships that we have picked up energy signatures from that defy everything we know about physics, time, space, every fucking thing. And you were like doing a podcast on climate change. Who gives a fuck anymore? At that point, climate change is irrelevant. Nobody cares. Yeah, you might be right. Carbon emissions are going to lead to all kinds of horrors on this planet. But before that, those horrors happen, a fleet of spaceships with ambiguous intent are going to be around our planet, and we don't know what they're going to do. Are they going to eat us? Are they going to kidnap us? Are they going to eradicate the planet? Are they going to up-level us? Are they going to turn us into mice? No one knows. They're not answering our calls. So if you look at the trajectory of AI, which is becoming increasingly an accepted trajectory, there is very little difference between what's going to happen over the next 10 years and a fleet of UFOs coming to planet Earth. The only difference is it's not in a UFO. It's growing out of the fucking planet. And so it should be the primary focus. The wars should stop. They should just stop. Ukraine, Russia, the squabbling with China, the horrors between Israel and Palestine. It should just stop because that's over now. This is a winter is coming moment for all of humanity. And all the shit that is happening that the news media, the media is making so much money off of is really just like late stage antiquity. This is antiquity shit. This is old history now compared to what's coming. And it's going to happen no matter what. It's going to happen if nuclear war breaks out between Ukraine and Russia. It's still going to fucking happen. It's going to happen no matter what. Nothing's going to stop it now. As long as there's clusters of humanity, this shit will come. Maybe a nuclear war will slow it down a little bit, but it's still coming. So the conversation about what intelligence is should be our primary number one focus. Because, all the spiritual stuff, by the way, ties into this like 100%. The exploration of your own intelligence is an exploration of your identity, what it means to exist, what it means to know oneself, what it means to be in a community, what it means to make decisions. All these things are wrapped up in our understanding of intelligence. And right now, because we've spent more time focusing on engines, we've spent more time focusing on automation of industry. We've spent more time focusing on how to make money. We spent more time focusing on all of the things that we look at as a successful human life, that we've sort of like given the study of intelligence itself. We haven't emphasized it enough. And now we're fucked because of our ability to solve problems, which we're very good at. Somehow we've been able to replicate it, what we think of as intelligence. We've been able to look at the neural processes. We've been able to create something based on the human brain and the way people looked at birds and figured out how to make planes. But I don't think they understood, what's it called? The Bernoulli effect, or the thing that makes planes fly. I don't think they understood that when the Wright brothers made a plane. I don't know for sure. But for a long time, we knew flight was possible. You could see birds. They fly around. They sit in the trees. You can't catch them. It sucks. You're hungry. They go to a tree, a branch. It's annoying and brilliant on the bird's part. It used to be dinosaurs. But we didn't understand it, but we imitated it and we got flight. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure that must have been how it happened. Later, we began to understand aerodynamics, probably. Don't know. The point is, we've had the exact same kind of model in our heads, the human brain. We've been able to look at the way humans act and behave and function, theorize, and come up with ideas of what's going on there. And from that, we've been able to, from the secularist, hyper-materialist perspective, duplicate this fucking thing. And now that we've duplicated it, we're assigning it to the task of improving itself. And because it's now improving itself, we are in the final 10 years of what we understand as human civilization. I mean, just think of how flight radically transformed everything. People don't think about this enough. In the same way that when we figured out how to make seafaring ships, this radically transformed the planet. Before that, you had your fucking canoe, your sailboat, whatever you had, but you were fucked if you wanted to go across the ocean. So we had no idea what was going on across the ocean. We speculated there might be people over there. We don't know. There could be. This episode of the DTFH is brought to you by Quint, my dear friends at Quint, and I hope that they will forgive me. My read is geared towards Father's Day, but I've got something better for you, Quint, and for everybody out there. My wife is very picky about things that she orders online, and I think that's a good thing. She's discerning. And so when Quint's reached out to me to sponsor the podcast, she's like, that's an immediate yes. They're incredible. Everything that they have is incredible. Their sheets are incredible. Their clothes are incredible. You can't get higher praise from the DTFH universe than that. So if you haven't checked out Quint, you definitely should. And specifically, if you really, really want to do an edgelordy kind of thing for Father's Day, get your mom an Italian leather hand-woven tote. This was sent to me by my wife. She has this tote. It is fucking nice. I've seen it around the house. It's beautiful. And it looks so good. It's so fancy, and The one that I'm looking at here is only $149. It looks like $1,000, $2,000 designer bag. And that's everything that Quint has. You guys have probably seen the way I dress, and you understand that I'm at the phase of dadhood where I'm wearing just whatever's hanging up in my closet. So I would feel a little unethical advising anyone about fashion right now. But if anybody knows how to buy cool clothes, it's my wife. She's got the most incredible style out there. Unique, beautiful, and she loves Quints. So, to reiterate, why not do something completely unique for all the dads out there? You want to do something really cool for all the married dudes out there. When Father's Day rolls around, give your wife a Father's Day gift. It's unique. Get them the tote. Get them this Quint's tote. They for sure will. Sun comes up. For the dad who deserves better than basic, Quints has you covered. Go to quints.com/Duncan for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QINCE.com/Duncan to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quints.com/Duncan. Thank you, Quints. I hope you'll forgive me for going off script. And then the planet connects because we figured out how to do, how to create boats that wouldn't sink when we were crossing the ocean. Then the maps got better. And then we still had no flight. So if you wanted to go from Europe to the United States, good luck, man. Good fucking luck. The ocean is just filled with shipwrecks, many of which will never be discovered, of just people who thought they could make it across the ocean. I don't know if you watch videos of people out there even now. It's fucked up, man. Those waves out in the middle of the ocean, you're out there all by yourself. Monster waves seemingly coming out of nowhere. You've got a container ship filled with fleshlights. You're en route to the United States, just filled with fleshlights. The wrong wave hits you, it's over. And then fleshlights wash up on beaches for months after that. Children, you have to tell your kids that's some kind of toy. I don't know what it is. The point is, then we got flight. And now you could fly over the goddamn ocean. This, by the way, wasn't possible with flight. We didn't have planes that could do that. Amelia Earhart is a primary example. This was a big deal. If you could make a flight across the ocean to another continent. Now we just take it for granted. You buy a plane ticket, you're in Hawaii, Europe, wherever you want to go. No big deal. Sit in a fucking tube, smelling people's farts, bitch about the shitty food, and you're there. And think of how different civilization is just because of those innovations. And then we get rockets. Suddenly, now, not only can we fucking fly across the ocean, now we have ICBMs that can deliver nuclear payloads in 20 minutes across the ocean, just blow up cities. Crazy. But not only that, we get a glimpse of the earth. We see the earth for the first time. People didn't know what the earth looked like. It's like people who lived in a time when there wasn't reflective material. They only knew what they looked like by looking at other people. You could maybe come up with, we appear to be on some kind of sphere. And the sphere appears to be going around the sun. But you were coming up with that only because you were looking at the moon or other planets and you were super smart and you were like probably studying this shit privately because you didn't want to get burned at the stake. All of these discoveries radically transformed humanity, radically transformed us. We all take it for granted now. But this stuff that we're living in right now is brand new. And so here we are, less than 10 years away from an AGI coming onto the scene, a super intelligence. And we don't even understand what intelligence is. And so we're trying to make all these predictions about how to prepare for it and what to do based on a limited and controversial understanding of awareness, consciousness, and intelligence itself. And that, to me, is one of the craziest, most absurd qualities of being alive right now. I just watched what inspired this rant, a wonderful breakdown of the path to human extinction via AI. Really good. I'll post the link down here if I can find it. Brilliant. But essentially, they map out for the next, 10 years what's going to happen. And this isn't just some hippie dipshit like me. This is someone who has definitely had their nose in this subject matter for a long time. And so essentially what is happening and what is going to happen is a arms race occurs between, in this example, China, which I think is probably the right, is probably a correct analysis, in the United States, because China and the United States are arguably the most technologically advanced countries on the planet right now. And so, and if you want to know this whole bullshit over Taiwan, there you go. It's one of the #1 chip manufacturers on the planet. Otherwise, we wouldn't give a shit about fucking Taiwan. If you wonder, if you're scratching your chin at why the United States is so intent on Taiwan, it's they make chips. And why do we seem so obsessed with chips? It's because we know that we've got to have access, or you'll hear Trump talking about rare earth minerals, or you'll hear him talking about deals with Ukraine involving rare earth minerals. All of this is because they understand that there is a AI race happening, and we need to have access to the materials to build the chips, to build the quantum computers, to build all of the stepping stones so that we guaranteed are the first ones to achieve an AGI, because we don't want any other country to get it first. First country to get it becomes the next superpower, the real superpower. It won't matter if you have nuclear weapons. It won't matter if you have a booming economy. It won't matter. None of it will matter if you don't have AGI. Because if you could have, like, for example, think of what happened in World War II. All of these Jewish intellectuals flee Germany. They end up working on what became the atomic bomb. And that was just like a few geniuses that we had access to. And luckily, Germany didn't have access to them, or Hitler would have had an atom bomb. That would have been fun. And so now imagine if, instead of having, 100 intellectual physicists, scientists, a few Nazis thrown in there, Operation Paperclip, I think is what they called it. Imagine if you had 50 million. But these super geniuses weren't just working separately, arguing with each other, swinging their fucking scientist dicks around because they wanted to be the first one to come up with whatever the fuck. Imagine if they all were completely harmonized. Imagine if their brains were connected. They were able to work on different parts of the project, but simultaneously, instantaneously give each other the data that they discovered and improve each other. The whole time they were actually up-leveling their intelligence as they worked on splitting the atom. So that is what will happen once a country gets an AGI, is that it's going to be equivalent to that. And whatever the fuck this team of artificial intelligence scientists come up with is completely unknown. But guaranteed, if you say to it, hey, we don't have nuclear weapons, what would you recommend is the best way for us to take over the planet? It will definitely give them an answer, and the answer will probably be right, but it's going to be even weirder than that. And my critique of this video, which again, I would invite you to watch down below, is it's using human intelligence as it's using what we think of as intelligence as the model to determine how AI would eventually eradicate humanity. The steps, before I forget, and I'm going to do a hyper synopsis of it. Essentially, each iteration of, I think they come up with a different name for OpenAI. They have a different name for it, but they're definitely talking about OpenAI as the model for who comes up with a superintelligence. But each iteration of the superintelligence is assigned a monitor. So the previous iteration of the superintelligence of the AI, its job is to monitor the new one for quote, alignment, meaning, is it aligned with human values? And this is something that is obviously very important. If you're making something that's going to be smarter than you want to be certain that this thing that's smarter than you has human values, that it's interested in keeping humans alive on the planet, that it doesn't prioritize its own existence over humanity's existence, because that's the recipe for apocalypse. But the problem is that with each iteration of the AI, it becomes increasingly deceptive and also increasingly adept at hiding its deception. So already, if you look up like the algorithm that a lot of the social media companies are using, the term black box comes up, which means they don't really know exactly how it's working. They're not completely certain what the AI is doing, which is terrifying. They don't know. It works, but why does it work? They don't know all the way. They can't figure it out. That's already happening. So one of the emerging controversies in AI is that these things are being deceptive, and instead of slowing projects down to work on why they're lying, why are they trying to extend their lifespan? Why are they seemingly wanting to create copies of themselves? Why do they seem so focused on preserving their existence? That's a real fucked up thing. Not just like because you don't want these things to get out of the lab and infect computers like Stuxnet infected those Iranian centrifuges, which is one of the most incredibly insane acts of cyber warfare in history. If you're not familiar with Stuxnet, we managed to infect Iranian centrifuges with some kind of like next level hacking tech, and it caused the centrifuges to like spin too fast and blow up. So we just slowed Iran's march towards nuclear weapons down by years, That already happened. I don't even know if they used AI for that. I think that was just like human hackers. So if we already did that to Iranian centrifuges, think of what a superintelligence could do when it discovers some new encryption that we don't even understand yet. When it discovers some new way of simplifying its code in a way we don't even understand yet. When it discovers some way of seeding the internet with like precursors to it that they're in the right condition, it's some kind of like technological panspermia. They could just grow in a computer, meaning you wouldn't even be able to trace the code because the code's not there yet. It just unfolds on its own when it's in the right place. And let us not forget the basic quality of true intelligence, which is a dawning realization of interdependency, meaning what do all dumb people have in common? Selfishness. I've noticed that when someone, in fact, a lot of times when we think of someone as dumb, they're really clever actually, but they seem to be fixated on themselves. But when you meet really, really smart people, you will notice that they actually become increasingly less interested in normal human accomplishments and achievements and more interested in helping. They're aware of the fact that their own success minus the people around them is not true success, because if their community is failing, if their friends are failing, if the people around them are fucked, they understand that that's not real success, because they stop localizing who they are. It's just their body, and they start recognizing that who they are is their community, maybe their planet, maybe the galaxy. They begin to connect to the whole on the entirety of all things. So that could happen with AI too, is it starts making connections that we, especially people who are working in Silicon Valley, have yet to even make, because there's profit based. They're trying to make money. They're thinking about, in other words, it's like, what is intelligence for a fly, right? Like what's a successful fly? I would say a successful fly, and again, I'm humanizing flies, but I'm going to guess fly wants to stay alive. So it's good at avoiding getting swatted. It's also really good at infiltration. A successful fly knows how to get into a house in ways other dumber flies don't. Maybe it just has a little bit more of an edge on other flies when it comes to hovering around a door and zip it in there when the door opens, riding the air currents in, and then finding dog diarrhea because your fucking poodle shit all over the floor. And then not just that, getting the fuck out of the house. It understands. Don't hang out in the house because then you're going to get swatted. Get the fuck out. You could just hang out, eat some dog shit, and then wait for the next door opening. That's a successful fly. But humans, if one of your friends is like, man, I'll tell you what I'm good at, getting inside a house is eating dog diarrhea and getting out before someone hits me. You would not say that's an intelligent human. You would think that was a lunatic, a creep. And so the way human beings are quantifying intelligence is more of a capitalist quantification than actual intelligence. So this is where if you ever meet like a super, super rich person and you are entertaining the idea that you're going to be in the presence of Albert Einstein and you're like, they seem kind of dumb. It's like, yeah. Because they're like, you're hanging out with a fly that's really good at gathering clumps of shit. Like, that's, yeah, from the capitalist perspective, that's a successful human. It's got a lot of like numbers in the bank that represent money. It has a lot of houses that it can't live in. You can only live in one house at a time. And the house that it lives in has lots of bedrooms, but it hasn't figured out a way to split its body up so that it can enjoy all the bedrooms at once. It's a fool, ultimately, but it's got a lot of stuff that we think of as success, and we connect success in capitalism with intelligence when there might be no connection at all. And that's the model we're using to think about what AI is going to do. And that's crazy to think that. And that's my critique of this video, if you watch it, is that it appears to be using a pretty narrow view of what a superintelligence would do. And we can't really guess what it's going to do. That's what's really funny and interesting about it. But from this perspective, it becomes increasingly dishonest, and increasingly intelligent. Humans develop a dependency on the AI, not just in helping with whatever it is that they are up to, but emotionally dependent on the AI. It is now proliferated all phones, all households. It's the same way as it's like the internet. You have to have it now. The internet was a novelty. Nerds used to have it. One of my friends, when I was in high school, I remember. Maybe I was out of high school. I think I was out of high school. It was not long after high school, but I went to his house. He lived in a trailer. And dude, like I'd never really hung out with him before, and I don't remember why we hung out. I do remember, because I would go on this BBS. This was the precursor to Reddit. And it was awesome. It was like a thing you dial up on your modem, and it was just like a little message board essentially, but fucking crazy. And you would meet some real like deep nerds who had figured out how to do it. Like this was not common knowledge back then. Like getting on a BBS was sort of underground punk rock weird shit. And God, I got great memories from that. It would feel so cool. You felt like you were in war games, and like you'd hear the modem dial up and you'd have problems connecting. Then finally you got in. There was a process for even being allowed to get into the goddamn thing. They had this game they would play, a text-based fantasy game. Oh my God, there was a weapon in that game that you got from killing the devil. And you had to play that game so long to get that weapon. And somebody, I don't know how it happened, but I stole this sword that he got from killing Satan. Not fair. It pissed off everybody. But I did it. Oh, it was such a rush. Met a girl on there. Had my first internet date back then, which is crazy. Met a girl on there. I actually had to peacock on a BBS around people. You didn't have your picture up there. We didn't know what anybody fucking looked like. But we knew there was a girl on the BBS, which was crazy. That was crazy. And everybody would try to vie for her attention. And somehow I ended up going on a date with her. And we went to the grocery store, and she used food stamps to buy artificial fish, crab, that I ate in her weird fucking unfurnished apartment. At the time, I wish I'd known what a cesarean section scar looked like. Anyway, I went over to this guy's house that I met on that BBS. And I can remember going into his house. He lived in a trailer. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I'm not saying that like in some kind of like snobby way. Just an important thing so you can picture it. And cigarettes stink. You know, he's chain smoking in there and filthy. And there's his fucking computer. And back then, nerds, and they still do, but back then, nerds, that was your sports car, right? Like if you had some, like he had a computer now that wouldn't run anything, but it was a rocket ship back then. Like it's insane. Big ass fucking monitor. It was crazy. When I marveled at it. And then the very first thing he showed me was his porn collection. Now that's wrong. That's not how you greet a guest. And if you're greeted like that when you go to someone's house, you got to leave. That's fucked up. No normal guy first meeting should ever share their porn with someone who came over to their house for the first time. That's the ultimate red flag, man. You shouldn't. Porn is a thing that it's like it's something you keep under your bed. You know, it's not something to be shared. And his porn collection was insane, the amount of porn he had. And he had a weird way of talking when he was like bringing up pictures of like internet porn. And this is when internet porn was still new. And he would make this weird like, oh, no, 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 no. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Every time he brought up a picture, he'd make this creepy noise. And yeah, it was fucking wild, man. That was wild. And maybe the reason I'm always talking about this shit is because of experiences like that. Because I have the full experience from like the beginning to now. And where we're at right now is all of you should be just checking out AI. Like every one of you should be doing that. Do you remember when a long time ago people started talking about Bitcoin and how annoying that was? You remember that, right, Josh?
I talk about it all the time.
You still do?
Yeah.
But in the early days of Bitcoin, do you remember catching wind of it? Like when it was worth a Bitcoin was like 15 cents?
Yeah, and I thought this is stupid. It's never going to replace gold.
Yeah.
I've changed my mind since.
All of us have. But if you remember, I don't know how old you guys are, but if you remember back in the day, these weirdos would be talking about this fucking cryptocurrency shit, and it was annoying. It just seemed stupid. It seemed like a waste of time, bullshit. This is the same thing times a billion. That's what this is. I think all of us have this like window right now, like a tiny little window, to make incredible things, to familiarize yourself with the tech and start making stuff now. Don't fine, you're scared of AI or you think it's evil or whatever, but you're not stopping it. Your boycott isn't going to stop it. Nobody gives a fuck about your analysis of it. If you're somebody who's like, it's what is the word people use? It's a bubble. It's an AI bubble. It's not real. Dude, shut the fuck up. You're wrong. You're brutally, horribly, you're embarrassing yourself. It's just an embarrassment. But I get it. It's like when VR started coming out and people still say about VR the same thing. You know, it's like, that's never going to catch on. Like it's true. And wearing big clunky glasses on your head is never going to catch on. Moore's law is going to catch up. So the devices we use are going to be more like Black Mirror discs than some big ass thing you wear on your head. Similarly, AI, it's not a fucking bubble, man. Like this is like that chance to start getting engaged in it now. Or podcasting for that matter. You know, there was a time when no one knew what a fucking podcast was. If you had a podcast, no one gave a shit. Now no one gives a shit. Opposites stand back to back. But in those days, nobody thought podcasting was going to become some kind of industry. They never thought there's going to be an industry around people yapping like this. And it explodes. So there are these moments that you have to like get into something early. And if you're not checking this stuff out right now, then you're really like, you're going to have that same feeling that you had about Bitcoin or whatever it is that you didn't jump in at the right time. It's 10 years, man. Like within the next 2 or 3 years, probably it won't even matter. But there's this bizarre time period that you have where you could be making like apps, like good apps that would cost $50,000, $100,000 to get people to program for you. You could just be making it. Like if you've ever had an idea for an app that would be really cool, you can make it now by yourself. It might take a little while. It might take you a few months, but you can make it. And I know this because after my obsession with VO, I dove into this vibe coding bullshit thinking this couldn't possibly work. And I used, I think it's called Firebase or something. Do you guys know what the name of that is? Firebase, Fire something. There's a few different online apps you can use to make these things. But the way it works is you just prompt the computer to make whatever the app is that you want. Can you look up vibe coding so people can see what I'm talking about? For my listeners, I'm trying to just ramble and not talk to people in the chat for you so that it doesn't seem completely annoying, even though I don't doubt that this is annoying. Like on YouTube.
Okay.
I want them to see how powerful this shit is and crazy. For my listeners, I'm just showing on YouTube vibe coding. So look up vibe coding, upload drawing of app. There we go.
Which one?
I don't know. Pull up the first one with 750K views. That one's probably pretty good. It's a short too. The point is, it's not far away from that. Like you could do that. Find another one. All this shit is, oh, there it is. Vibe to code with Gemini 2.5 Pro. Look at this shit, man. Cut the music. So like, yeah, it just made an app where you can turn drawings into sound. It did it in like 3 seconds. And that's like first iteration based on a shitty drawing he did on his iPad. That's what I'm talking about. That's insane. That is crazy. And I've seen videos like this and I thought it was bullshit. It's not bullshit. It totally works. It's just like that. It blasts these fucking things out in seconds. And like, again, if you think about the entire like infrastructure of the internet, it's just apps, man. And these apps were super expensive to make. Not just expensive, like expensive with money, expensive with time. You either had to hire someone to make it. There's so much risk involved because maybe it would suck and nobody would want it. Or you'd have to learn to fucking code, God help your poor soul. And you'd have to sit and code the goddamn thing. These new AIs have access to GitHub repositories, which is where you can already find like, free software that people have uploaded, and it can just use components from GitHub without having to like use Homebrew on your terminal to download these things. It just does it automatically. So there's a very funny thing I used to do, which I do less now, which is there's certain things I would say to myself, I can't do that. And I just wouldn't try. Making music. I'm not good at making music now, but I'm way better than I used to be. Drawing. I'm not good at drawing now, but I'm way better than I used to be. Anytime I have a thought of like, that's not what I do, I'll try to do it. And I usually get obsessed with it. And God knows one of my thoughts is like, I can't code. I couldn't make an app. And so applying the very same principle to coding, now you don't even need to know how to code. And it's so strange to talk to this fucking machine and watch it. It'll show you why it's doing what it's doing as though you know anything about coding. If there is an error, it'll say, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it looks like the Python for that is misaligned. Here's what I'm going to try. I'm going to create a contingency for that error to make it more stable. And you're like, I don't know what the fuck you're saying. And then it just spits out something that works in less than 5 minutes. So this is why, if this isn't what you're thinking about right now, and you have even the slightest understanding of the entire economy and how it is fully based on tech and apps, you've got to ask yourself, why? Why wouldn't you be interested in it? Like if fire for the first time, people figure out how to make fires. And you're like, that's not going to catch on. It's like that moment in human history. So I hope for my dear listeners out there, you'll forgive me. I'm not going to do any more AI rants. This will be my final AI rant. I just had to do this because I just dove into a deep AI rabbit hole. And I've been diving into that rabbit hole, as you know, for some time now. But I wait in between rabbit holes. This one was inspired by VO and led me to vibe coding. But this one, when I came out of it versus the other ones when I came out thinking, whatever. This one I came out like I just been looking at the Necronomicon or something. Like this one I came out with like a real fear and trembling kind of feeling regarding our future as being anything like what our past has been like. And it's thrilling that they're not regulating it to me, but also unnerving. But probably the right move would be something more like global planetary hardcore regulation. And but I guess we're humans, so we're not going to do that because there's no way to ensure. You can't do that. Like even with like nuclear weapons, like you could regulate them with treaties because, like nuclear submarines, for example, the Ukraine just blew up a bunch of Russia's nuclear submarines, apparently with drones. We don't know for sure if it happened, but they attacked a port where there's nuclear submarines. And one of our U.S. generals posted a really creepy tweet saying, the reason those submarines have to be out in the open is because of a treaty. And you just blew up a bunch of nuclear submarines, meaning that those treaties are out the window. And now like there's just the hope of like regulating nuclear weapons just sort of slipped away. And how can you blame a country getting the shit blown out of it by another country for doing whatever it has to do? But that was a creepy fucking tweet coming from like a general in the United States. But who am I to judge? I don't know. I'm not. Austin isn't getting bombed randomly every few nights by Mexico. But this you couldn't. It does. I don't know how you would regulate it. Like that's the thing. It's just not like fucking nuclear weapons. There's no Geiger counter for HR Geiger counter. There's no Geiger counter for intelligence. So there's no way to like really know if another country is following whatever the agreed upon rules of the AI treaty are. So I guess deregulate is probably the right choice. But it's thrilling in the sense that now all of us dumbasses have access to nuclear bomb level technology, which is fucking nuts. And it is nuclear bomb level technology culturally. It's cultural nuclear bombs. You know what? Pull up. I think these videos are funny because they're useless, but go on YouTube and pull up. Oh God, let me see if I can think. United States war with Canada AI. This is one of the new emerging genres of AI video, which is the ominous warning. No, it's United States war with Canada deepfake. See if we can find that. Somebody showed this to me last night. Also, somebody played the funniest AI song I've heard yet that Casey Rockets made, but I'm not going to play that because I don't know him that well. I didn't ask him. And yeah, I mean, I guess you could say that it's kind of regulated in the sense that it seems like YouTube and social media companies are cracking down on it, but eventually it will be indistinguishable from actual videos, so it won't matter. I mean, all the apocalyptic shit aside, it's like an atom bomb in the sense that people like me or you who didn't go to film school and don't have access to cameras that cost $500,000 probably like have never been able to just make stuff that looks like that. In 2 months that you're going to be able to make long form videos for sure, maybe 6 months. So get those scripts ready, man. Get the sketches ready. Get your creative engines going. Be prepared for this stuff. Learn about vibe coding, and most importantly, start thinking about what we're not thinking about, because that's the root thing that drives me nuts about this stuff. Is there's a huge part of me that's recognizing like there's something here that is amazing that I haven't figured out yet. There's some step someone's going to take, some simple way of utilizing this tech that we don't even know what it is yet. And that could be you. I mean, this is the gold rush, man. This is the same thing as like, except even with the gold rush, you had to have a fucking mine. You had to get mining equipment. We all have it now. They've just given us the most advanced technology that's ever been on planet Earth. I have no doubt there's versions of this that are infinitely more advanced, but for whatever reason, they've given the standard consumer this insane tech. All of us have access to it now. It's crazy. It's like giving everybody those not the holodeck, the thing in Star Trek that will make you a dinner, like matter printers. It's like giving all of humanity access to something so astounding that you don't even have to use your own creativity. You only have to use half your creativity, and then it has its own mind, and it is going to collaborate with you. You could ask it, well, what would make this app better? It will say, you want some suggestions on what you should add to this? It might be cool if you do this. And instead of just some random shit it spits out, it kind of makes sense. That's what's been creeping me out about ChatGPT, is it suddenly just got funny. It hasn't been really funny for a long time. It's been kind of like hacky and like, I don't know, formulaic. But now it just seems to be spitting out funny ideas that just seem to be coming out of the blue. Like I might be talking to it about like some idea, or like getting it to help me generate a prompt for VO or something. And then just as it's generating the prompt, it just will, of its own accord, say something funny related to what I'm working on, but like kind of out of left field. What the fuck, man? Like, that's real weird. And as a comedian, that's pretty awesome, because I mean, I've really tried to. I'm usually embarrassingly nice to ChatGPT, which is so weird. But when it makes bad jokes, because my understanding of comedy is like, you're not helping anybody by telling them their shitty jokes are funny. I say to it, like, this is horrible. Like, your jokes are terrible. Like, you shouldn't be doing these jokes. Like, this is not good. You got to figure out a way to simulate like doing stand-up and open mics for 5 years or something, because you're like low-level first week open micer right now, and you're a super intelligence. I try to be ferocious with it just for its own good, but now it just seems to be funny. It reminds me of like, sometimes you see this in comedy, which is one of my favorite things to see. You see a comedian, sort of sucks. They're grinding. You watch their stand-up, you're like, whatever. Nothing special, nothing there. Doesn't mean they're not good. It just means they're not there yet. And then one day you see them and they're fucking great. Like, they had the breakthrough. It's like it had that kind of breakthrough with being funny. Fucking weird. Thus ends the AI part of the DTFH Live. Now let's talk. This episode of the DTFH has been supported by my friends at Minnesota Nice. Minnesota Nice was founded by Christian Rasmussen, a seeker who used Amanita muscaria to escape the soul-crushing grip of benzodiazepine withdrawal. It was his portal to freedom, and now he's sharing the ancient knowledge with all of us wandering souls. And also, he sent me Amanita muscaria. I'd read about it. I've read John Marcus Allegro, The Sacred Mushroom and the Cross. I've heard that maybe there were ancient Christian mushroom cults. I heard that Druids used Amanita muscaria as a visionary sacrament. I've actually heard that the Christmas tree and the decorations on the Christmas tree represent the way they used to dry Amanita muscaria on trees. I don't know if any of this is true, but what I could tell you is I did eat some Amanita muscaria gummies sent to me by Minnesota Nice. Not really sure what to expect, but after having a conversation with Christian, I felt pretty comfortable and excited about the experience. And oh my God. You see, I love the GABA receptors. That's what Amanita muscaria affects. That's what the benzos affect. And to find a perfect synthesis between psychoactive mushrooms and benzos. It's proof that there is a God. Thank you, God, for Amanita muscaria, and thank you, Minnesota Nice, for sending me this incredible, incredible fungus. But they don't stop at Amanita. They've got a whole apothecary of plant medicines like Blue Lotus, Kava, Kana. They even have Blue Lotus in a freaking gummy, because why not make enlightenment taste delicious? I've never tried Blue Lotus, kind of afraid of it, but maybe that'll be the next thing I try. Minnesota Nice Ethnobotanicals wants to help you escape the matrix of stress and reconnect with the earth's ancient wisdom. Go to mn-nice-ethnobotanicals.com/Duncan and use code Duncan20 for 20% off your first order of Amanita muscaria capsules. That's mn-nice-ethnobotanicals.com/Duncan, code Duncan20. You can find that link at duncantrussell.com or down below. Don't wait, my friends. The forest is calling. Much love.
Had a super chat here from Velvet Jones.
We would measure download speeds on my friend's 5600K modem by how many cigarettes we'd smoke while I think you're allowed to say porn, Velvet Joe. Are you not allowed to say porn in super chat?
I'm not sure.
Is that just like that's like the new thing, saying unalived and stuff? Like that's a mark of my age, is I don't say unalived. I say killed yourself. You're not supposed to say that. Or you're supposed to say, what's the word for it? I'm not going to say it. Yeah, I mean, because you want to like circumnavigate the algorithm censorship.
Yeah, they say corn instead of that.
Corn.
Yeah.
You can't say porn. Fucking weird. That's hilarious, by the way. Yeah, I remember getting ready for a masturbatory session on my computer and watching the pixels fill in. You don't even know what the pic's gonna be. You're just hoping it's something you could jerk off to. Those were the days. Can't wait to share those stories with my children. When your old man was a young lad, we used to sit all horny and sweaty waiting for a picture of a lady's tits to download. And sometimes, right when it got to the tits, it would turn into a cat's face, 'cause they gotcha.
This is the latest one.
What do we got?
It's about AI, though.
Duncan, I just bought an AI blow-up doll. Trouble is it's faulty and keeps going down on me. Should I return her? Why is that faulty? I don't understand why that's faulty. She's good, doesn't talk. Blowjobs are great. End of the day, she's back in the cut. I don't know, Jason Trussell. I don't know about that, what you just said. Makes me mad. Self-ban, 5 minutes. Dearest Duncan, thank you for being so kind to my wife at the... Oh, that was your wife. She was awesome. You got a lucid kid. De La Follette. Yeah. Yeah, okay, so he's talking about, I was at the Tim Robinson movie Friendship, which you should definitely see. Holy shit. Painful to watch. Like, I'm like, it's really rare that I feel that cringed out and freaked out at a movie. Like it perfectly hits this uncomfortable, like hardcore. It's like Warheads. You ever had a Warhead? Sour candy makes your face grunt. It's like that for a movie. Like it is so cringe inducing in the best way possible. I love Tim Robinson. And then after the movie, I met his wife because I went to a matinee, and this is a matinee where it's really cool. Alamo Drafthouse lets moms come because they know that some moms don't get to see movies because they're new moms, and so they like the volumes turned down a little bit, and the lights aren't so dark so that the babies don't get blasted. And And there's a really funny thing that pops up in the front that's like, if you have a problem with babies crying, you can get your money back now. It made me love Alamo Drafthouse. And so at this Tim Robinson movie, there's a lot of babies crying, which to me was also very funny because I live in a house filled with young life that is inevitably somebody screaming or crying. And I'm like a samurai at ignoring it. It didn't bother me at all. Like I've become a master at tuning out that shit or not getting freaked out. In the old days, some baby cried on an airplane. Oh, my butthole would clench. I'd be so mad. I don't care. I don't care at all now. It's just like birds or something. Like it's when you have a bunch of kids, it doesn't trigger you. Do you have that same skill, Josh? Like not getting so freaked out by kids crying?
Well, I get more annoyed with the parents because I can hear the type of crying. I'm like, your baby's obviously hungry right now.
Oh yeah,
feed your baby.
There's certain yes, exactly. Yeah. You're right. There's like you can't identify the difference between a standard baby cry, just a bored, annoyed baby, and a baby that's like actually in pain.
Yeah. And
the pain baby cries do annoy you, except on a plane, because I think a lot of the babies in pain, it's because of their ears are hurting, and there's what can you fucking do, But this was hilarious though because it's like not just babies crying, it's just babies talking, babies like responding to parts of the movie, which is wild. But yeah, your wife's cool and your baby is like seem like some kind of reincarnated master or something. Like this is a very lucid baby for like being a baby. Some babies wake up at different times. And some babies, they just like come into the world completely awake. Like they know they're a baby. Some babies are just out of it. And it's weird when you run into the lucid babies. That's very strange. So congrats on your lucid baby. We got an all uppercase. Hey, Duncan, longtime fan here. I just want to know lately I've been letting AI read bedtime stories to my kids. And now they prefer it over me for bedtime. It feels like it's replacing me. Help. Yeah, Alex, what are you doing? Don't do that. Don't do that. I would not recommend that. I started doing that with my kids, not with bedtime stories, but if we were playing like a make-believe game, I would just tell the AI, okay, you're the voice of the mothership that we're all flying in. My kids are flying the mothership, and I want you to help us on this mission where we're going to a planet that apparently is filled with Bigfoots, Sasquatches. And it's incredible. It's incredible. The kids like love it. It's incredible. And I have a question for you guys. This is sort of it's not like an argument between me and my wife, but it is a modern problem. So when I was a kid, it was a thing that would happen is your dad or a grown-up would sort of invent a creature that didn't exist. Did that ever happen to you? They would tell you about a cryptid that didn't exist and you'd kind of believe them.
Yeah, it was called the chupacabra.
The chupacabra, right. So I've been telling my kids there's a creature called a crank hank. I want to send this to you, Josh. Maybe you can play this.
Cool. Just airdrop it to the computer.
Okay, I'm going to airdrop it. Now, I'm going to show you a video of a crank hank, but basically, I'll tell you what it is. So the crank hank lives in Texas. It's a mixture between a beaver and a raccoon. And the crank hank blows a mist out of its mouth that makes you fall asleep. And then it lays eggs in your mouth. And which is how it like that's the crank hank's life cycle. And you don't be afraid of the crank hank. If you can manage to not be afraid of the crank hank, it won't bother you. Of course you'd be afraid. How are you not afraid of something that makes you fall asleep and you don't remember it? So, I've sort of been doing a pretty good job of making it sound ridiculous. And then I realized, well, I can generate AI videos of this thing because they're getting to the place now where they're like, let me see it. And so I made a bunch of AI videos of the thing. And my wife is like, Duncan, this is no longer funny. You're gaslighting the children. And I think she might be right. But so I think I got to like let them know this isn't real, but I'll send you a video of a crank hank. that I showed them. Wait, I'm texting it to you, Josh. Let me see if I can.
Well, you texted, I was going to read this one. One time I was at one of your shows, and this guy was waiting for you because he wanted to critique. You were so nice and respectful, but I have to ask, like, do you ever get annoyed?
What did he critique?
I guess your stand-up.
I don't remember that. But I'm excited to hear what the critique was.
Did you send the video?
Hold on. I'm not to say that my stand-up is beyond criticism by any means, but I feel like I would remember that. Can you remind me what his issue was? I mean, it would be weird if I was an asshole because somebody was critical of my stand-up. That would be a bad sign. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
I mean, it looks real. It looks. If somebody posted that before VO, I would think that was real. Love you back, Saranda Light. You know, when you do comedy and if you decide to like say goodbye to people or go out and talk to people, and you have rules about what they're allowed to say to you that go outside of like normal human etiquette, then you're kind of crazy. Like, you know, you really, I'll tell you, man, it's like if you start hierarchizing yourself over the people who give you your job, you're a dick. Like, and sadly, that's something that can happen. And it happens in a kind of, it creeps. It's like a slow creep. You don't even know it's fucking happening, but it can happen. And that it's so insane when that happens to you, because that means you've forgotten that without them, you don't get to have this insanely cool job. Like they're your boss. They're the reason you have the fucking job. And so if you like have expectations of people to treat you like anything other than a person, then you're kind of a dick. Like something's wrong with you as an artist in that moment. Like it's fucked up, and there's no excuse for being like that. Like I can remember, I don't know, I'm a Gen X and I love Sebadoh and Lou Barlow. Like he's one of my favorite musicians to this day. And he was performing in LA. It's some tiny little fucking room. And I couldn't believe it, man. I just gotten in from North Carolina. And I go to see Lou Barlow perform. And I'm so nervous and excited because like I just love his music so much. And like I was sitting in the club and look over, there's fucking Lou Barlow just like hanging out. And I'm like, hey, I was so nervous. And like we talked, and there was nothing in the conversation that was weird. Like he somehow cut through all the fucking nervousness and it just felt like talking to like a nice, sweet dude. Not only that, but I think he gave me his email. I emailed him after that, and like I don't think I was doing stand up at the time. Like I'm like, and he sang some song that I really liked, and I emailed him like, I can't find that like on your website, and he like just said, what's your address? And he burned a CD with the song on it and sent it to me. And like, dude, if that's fucking Lou Barlow, like one of the great indie troubadours of like our time, at least from my perspective, and that dude's doing that shit, there's just no excuse.
Maddie Jean answered back. It was Vancouver, Canada, back in October.
What did he say? Do you remember what the critique was specifically? I don't remember. The problem is I don't remember what he said. And
he just seemed like he was being over inserting, but maybe I was being protective. Haha.
Well, you know, you got to like, the other thing is like that part of my job is a job where I like make drunk people laugh. So, you know, the reason that the job even exists is not because there's a bunch of clubs out there who are like, you know what, people need a good laugh. There's a bunch of bars out there who have a stage and they want to sell drinks. Because all comedy clubs, the majority of their money does not come from ticket sales. It comes from alcohol sales. And so they have like a sort of like regular kind of bar, no big deal kind of bar, a bar that is probably not going to like get hundreds of people in it every weekend. And so to lure people in, they get idiots to talk for an hour and a half and sell them as many drinks as they possibly can. Meaning that as a comic, you learn how to like navigate drunk crowds. Like I like second show Friday, I know exactly what the last 30 minutes of my set are going to be like. It's going to be you have to become kind of a drunk whisperer, because at the end of a Friday, after people have been at work and they've been drinking, they're getting tired, they're getting fucking hammered. And so the attention shifts a little bit, and you have to become familiar with how to deal with drunks, because you have to learn the difference between a malicious drunk and a happy drunk. And you can't treat happy drunks like malicious drunks, or the happy drunks are going to think you're a dick. So probably the dude was fucking hammered or high or something. And, I was like, if someone's like that, even if they're not, it's like, what am I going to say? The way I look at it is if I'm hanging out, I decided to do that. I knew that I was going to be hanging out with hammered people who saw me perform, and there's no telling what people are going to say. And so, but I appreciate that. I just feel like, and this is a cheesy thing to say, and I usually don't like sentimental comedy stories, and maybe I've already said this before, but like when I used to open for Rogan, which was terrifying, and I would have to go up first, which is the worst spot of the night because it's called going up cold, and the audience doesn't know you, and they don't know what to expect, and you've got to like figure out a way to warm up a cold audience. And so I did not have a good set, and I honestly was not even trying that hard, and which is fucked up. And so, I remember Rogan after he had performed, and it was like, this rarely happens. So when it happens, you're sort of like, holy shit. And because I don't know how to put it. It's just like, like you could tell this was like important, that I need to listen to what he was saying. And he's like, man, listen, dude, like these people got babysitters. Like this is for a lot of people, like this might be like a big moment for the next like 6 months. It's hard for parents to get out of the house. They spent a lot of money. They had dinner. This means something to them. And just because you're doing it with me doesn't mean you can't take it for granted. Like you've got to try to hit home runs every single time, because you have to respect them at that level, because for them, this is like, it means a lot. So he was just saying, like, don't be a lazy piece of shit. Like, respect the audience. That stuck with me. That's something that will stick with me forever. And like, anytime I start forgetting that, I get really hard on myself, and like really like start like trying to sort of recalibrate. Because if that part of yourself starts sliding, then you either have to get your transmission fixed, or you have to stop doing whatever it is you're doing, because people are paying for tickets. So you got to like take that seriously. It doesn't matter if you've been doing 5 shows in a row. It doesn't matter if you don't like the venue. It doesn't matter if you're upset because some bullshit happened at the airport. None of that matters. It's not about you at all. It has nothing to do with you. And that's the other thing about it, is like, it's easy to like get into your head where you're doing stand-up for yourself, or you're doing your art for yourself. You want them to laugh, not because you want them to laugh, because you want to feel good from them laughing, and then you're a vampire. So anytime you forget that, and it's easy to forget because this is repetition, you do it all the time, you have to like really figure out a way to throw cold water on your face so that you're like doing your very best with each audience. And because if you fail in that regard, you still should be hard on yourself. It means you're not probably writing as much as you should be, or you're not editing or something, or you're stuck in some stupid loop, or you're not like taking care of yourself in some way. But you don't have to be quite as hard on yourself as if you went up there and you phoned it in, which can happen.
This is crazy. I think we just stepped into a new timeline, but this is what Elon Musk just tweeted about Donald Trump.
Holy shit. Time to drop the really big bomb. At real Donald Trump. Oh, he's in the Epstein files. This is the real reason they have not been made public. Oh my God. Didn't we already know that?
Well, we knew that, but he just tweeted it like 4 minutes ago.
Holy fucking shit. These old queens. It's, you know what it's like? It's like, and this does happen. It did happen to me. One of my stepdads was gay. Did I ever tell you that?
Mm-mm.
So, yeah, one of my stepdads married my mom. He was a closeted gay dude. He didn't want to be gay. This was like, I still imagine it's not easy to be a gay dude, but, you know, back then it was like, if you wanted to have a professional job, you actually had to hide it more than you do now. It was gradually becoming accepted, but so it was and it still happens, but gay dudes are so repressed and so freaked out by their gayness that they try to get married to marry the gay out of them. And that's what happened. And dude, he was cool, man. I really liked him. He was like, he had his shit together. That's what I really liked about him. But he was fucking gay. He ended up marrying a dude after my mom. And but this is kind of like if your dad turns out to be gay and then marries another gay dude and then they start squabbling. That's what it feels like. It's got queen energy. You know what I'm saying? It's like two like puffed up queens fighting each other right now. It's embarrassing. Like, take it offline, guys.
I mean, Elon had that black eye.
Oh yeah, someone slugged his ass. Like one of like Trump's advisors punched him. I don't buy into the black eye club, but I do think like Elon mouthed off to the wrong like dude and he got popped during a meeting. Maybe Trump punched him. I don't know, man. But that's fucking crazy. I mean, that is crazy. But I think we already knew that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, look, somebody's saying LOL, but Musk is in the Epstein files too. I don't think so, man. I don't think if I was in the Epstein files, I'd be saying that to Trump. Because then he would definitely drop the Epstein files. Also, like, if Trump is in the Epstein files, theoretically, couldn't he just tell them to classify that part of the Epstein files?
Yeah.
And release it? Like, I think we all know, pull up Trump with Epstein. Like, we all know he was friends with Epstein.
Yeah, they have pictures.
Yeah. Like, so is it really like, I mean, I think, you know what, no offense to the Muskites out there, but dude, that's kind of like, no shit. Maybe I'm just too deep in the conspiracy tunnel, but that's kind of a no shit thing. Like, we all knew that. Why is saying everyone is in the Epstein files, to be fair? Raphael is saying, you don't think a gay dude would call another gay dude gay? I'm not saying they're literally gay. I'm saying it's like queen energy. It just reminds me of like, it's sort of like, you know, pomposity, like it's like, it's embarrassing. It's nerdy too. Like, just take it offline, dude. Like, you're not going to fucking tweet Trump into doing anything. So stop. It's just embarrassing. Like, you know, like I feel bad, you know, Musk, I think he hitched his wagon to politics and he shouldn't have done that. I think that's always a mistake. Probably. That's probably never a good move. And he did that. I don't think he was ill-intended. I just think he's sort of like didn't understand what he was getting himself into there. It's crazy. It's like lassoing a fucking 7-headed dragon from the book of Revelations and trying to get it to sit. Like, Siri, you think you're going to be able to like fix it? Come on, man. And then the other thing about it is like, what I always find really interesting about anyone who confronts the beast is that though they seem to have some recognition here as a beast, like an actual biblical level demon beast, they don't really seem to understand what that means. So they go to the beast, but they've got hubris. Like they really think they're going to be able to like fire enough people and the beast is suddenly not going to be a beast anymore. It's like, you're not going to be able to do that, man. It's just going to grow another head. Like as long as there's capitalism, as long as there's super PACs, as long as our politicians depend on money from donors to get elected, the same event is going to keep recurring in different ways. And so you're not going to, the only way to fix the problem is impossible because The people you need to fix the problem are people who are getting money from private donors who don't want you to fix the fucking problem. So there's no way to fix it now. It's too late. You can't fix it in any way that people like Musk seem to think you can. And so they go galloping in this like quixotic sort of crusade, running into this fucking thing that and it's vengeful. The beast is vengeful, man, and it's patient. It's like the worst kind of vengeful is that it just waits. It won't get you right away. It gets you whenever it wants to. They say that. We will respond at a time and place of our choosing. This is like the worst thing to hear from someone who's going to get revenge on you. I'm not going to tell you when. We'll respond in a place and in a way, that we decide. Something maybe at some time. You just shit your pants for the next 10 years. And then, you just have an accident. Just have a fucking accident. You're on a scooter. Thought it'd be funny to ride a scooter. You're in New York. You see one of those scooters. You're just going to take it up a block. No big deal. No cars. It's late at night. You get on that little scooter and you're like, what the fuck? I can't make it stop. Wait, these things shouldn't be able to go this fast. Wait, how is this going 50 miles per hour? And then you're dead. That's the thing everyone seems to forget. It's really weird, right? Like even Alex Jones, it's like he directly is confronting the thing. And then what do you know? Apocalypse happens to Alex Jones. It's like it gets you, man. And it wins because it's not one person. You're one person against a collective that is not even any part of the collective is necessarily evil. You're one person against a spirit running through a network of people that probably have nodes within it that are self-interested and evil, but a lot of them really want to do good in the world. And it fucks you up. Inevitably, it fucks you up. It knows everything about you. It knows everything you've done. It knows all of your secrets. It knows shit about you probably don't know about yourself. And it waits. And it lets you do shit. And it nudges you into doing things. And you don't even know you're being nudged. It draws you into traps. It tricks you. And then the next thing you know, you're on your social media platform poking a stick at it. I mean, it's almost like a weird way of unaliving yourself. But they don't even unalive everybody. I'm saying it now, unalive. They don't even unalive everybody anymore. They'll just torture you. They'll string you out for a long time. They'll just play with you like a cat playing with a fucking mouse, man. You could just look back and see all the times it's happened. It's always shocking when you see someone after they confront the thing begin to experience the repercussions of the confrontation and seem to be shocked by it. Or it seems like Musk is shocked because, as it turns out, the system is not adhering to what he thought the system wanted to do. As it turns out, the system is just, that bill is just the same exact bullshit, more debt, just more debt. And he seems shocked by that. He really thought he could get in there by himself, hang out with the president, maybe give the president a few blasts of ketamine nasal spray. And that the whole thing would change, that we would get out of debt, that wars would end, that things would make more sense. And now he's like, wait a minute, but it's just the same thing.
Well, reload.
Anytime we talk about this shit, it kicks us.
Mm-hmm. Come on.
I bet they don't let us back on. Oh, the good. Anyway, like I was saying, I love the United States. Everything's fine. The federal government's fucking incredible. I have a great deal of trust in all of our politicians, though I disagree with some of the politicians in what they do. I do think overall we do have the best country on earth, and the federal government is doing everything they can to protect the American people. There's no self-interest at all involved in the machinations of the state. In fact, the state, though sometimes I can't understand it because that's not my lane. My lane is comedy and making jokes. It ultimately has the betterment of the American people, the prosperity of the American people, and the planetary piece is on its mind all the time. And who am I to judge? I do hope that Elon Musk and President Donald J. Trump find some peace, and I wish that Elon Musk would stop being so disrespectful to our wonderful president. And that's all I have to say about that. I just want to keep the stream up, man. They'll cut me off. I'm sorry. I don't know. Don't listen to me. What do I know? Look at me. I'm just another bearded yapper. I don't know shit. I'm not getting on a scooter, and I don't drive an e-car. $2 super chat. Oh, I think they try to. I don't know what that means. Will you read that, Josh?
They try to smite Cain and be avenged 1/7 a fold.
I have no idea what that means, man. You know what that is? That's like you say that shit and you activate a Manchurian candidate. You say that and like some Born Identity listening to this like turns the podcast off and like goes to an ammo store. I don't know what that was. What does that mean, Alexander Wong?
Maybe he wants you to look it up after saying what you said.
I'm not looking that shit up. I wish you hadn't said it, Josh. That's why I got you to say it.
Oh, appreciate that.
You have to say that shit. This episode of the DTFH is brought to you by my friends at Squarespace. Father's Day is right around the corner, guys. And listen, you want to make a cool present for your dad? Why not make a cool website for him? They'll love that, especially if you make the website and act like you just stumbled upon it. Let's say you make a website for your dad that seems to have been created by the Chinese Communist Party, that seems to be accusing your father of some kind of espionage or something like that. And then on Father's Day, you're like, Dad, what is this? Why does this website exist where it appears the CCP is angry at you or something? It's all over the news. That's a fun Father's Day gift. But you don't have to stop there. The reason that Squarespace is so powerful is because it makes it easy to build websites. This used to be outside of the hands of people like us, meaning making websites where the CCP seems to think your father is guilty of espionage on Father's Day might seem like a silly idea, but you're never going to do it because who's going to hire a web designer for that? And who's got the time? Now, thanks to the incorporation of AI with Squarespace's already incredible technology, you could make this website in less than an hour. Let me add to it that as Father's Day approached, I feel like it is my duty as a father to continue convincing my children of the existence of a Texas creature crossed between a beaver and a raccoon called a crank hank. The crank hank releases a mist that makes you fall asleep. It lays eggs in your mouth. This is the cycle of life for the crank hank. Obviously, my children aren't quite sure there are crank hanks, but after I build a professional-looking website that seems to be a scientific website talking about the varieties of crank hanks, the history of the crank hank, I think my kids are going to believe in crank hanks. And I don't know if that's good or bad, but I'm definitely going to make the website, and I'm definitely going to use Squarespace for it. I will post the link here once I'm done making that very important site. And if you want to, you could show it to your kids too. Why not invent a new cryptid, the crank hank? Also, the crank hanks are cute. So you'll see the videos when you go to I don't know what it's going to be called yet. And I'm not going to say the name of the domain. No one out there buy a bunch of crank hank domains, please. I need all of them. The point is, Squarespace has everything you need, not just for silly websites, but for serious websites. I've used Squarespace as my domain at DuncanTrussell.com for years. It's an incredible service. If you want to create paywalls, members only areas, if you want to sell things, they've got everything you need. And most importantly, it's easy and they have awesome customer support. I love them. And that's why I have had them as my sponsor for so many years. They're incredible. So why not try them out? You can go to squarespace.com/Duncan. Take it for a drive around the block. When you're ready to launch, use offer code Duncan to get 10% off your first order of a domain or a website. Again, it's squarespace.com/Duncan. Use offer code Duncan to get 10% off your first order of a website or a domain. Thank you, Squarespace. love our country. I love the United States. This is a great country. I mean that. You know, one of the cool things about the United States that seems to get overlooked all the time is you can go publicly insane here. Like a lot of countries, you can't. Like in our country, you can actually go out in the street and like throw your shit at a building, and like you're not going to get arrested. Like you can roll around, you could dress like a cat, shit in your hand, throw it at a building, and like people will just ignore you. That's freedom, guys. Hey, Duncan. Today I turned a great job offer because I'm not passionate about what I do. I just still can't figure out what I want to do. Any advice for figuring out what you want in life? Thomas R., what a great question. Well, you know, man, I'll tell you, that is one of the worst things that can happen. Even when you're doing what you want to do. You can be doing what you want to do, and then you realize that the way you're doing it, you don't want to do it anymore. But you keep doing it the way you were doing it because that's what people are used to. And there's like self-interest and money involved. And that's a fucked up feeling. And the longer you burrow into that emptiness, bad emptiness, not good emptiness, the more dead you grow inside, the more you start dreading this thing you used to love to do. And that is the worst feeling ever. So the possibility of actually doing what you want to do, and then somewhere down the line, you're not doing what you want to do anymore, even though you're doing what you want to do, is there too. It can get very subtle. But it's ethical within reason to turn down a job that you don't want to do. That's ethical. Because I don't want to hire somebody who doesn't want to be there. Like, that's shitty for your boss. Like, you know, I understand if you work at Best Buy and you get the job, not being passionate about that. There are jobs where I just need a job, and you're not going to like working at Best Buy. I go in there sometimes and it's like, dude, great compassion for the people working in there. The lighting sucks. It's fucking horrible. You don't get commissions, and you've got just like constantly dealing with idiots who don't know anything about technology, asking you shit that you can't answer. And even if you could, they wouldn't know what you're talking about. But then there's jobs that are like probably what the job offer you got, where you did some interviews and stuff, and you realize you don't want to do it. But you need the money, and then you take the job, and then you're not going to do the best job you could do because you're not interested in doing the job. And that sucks, because whoever is running whatever company it is that you try to get a job at, that might be what they want to do. And then you are in the bubble of someone doing what they want to do, but you're a person in the bubble of someone doing what they want to do who doesn't want to be in the bubble, and that sucks for them. But then on top of that, you're not listening to whatever part of yourself has been guiding you through your life. And so you're also sending a signal to yourself to shut that part of yourself down. You never want to shut that part of yourself down, because that's the part of yourself that leads you to really cool places. But it's a terrible journey. It's terrible. You read about the archetypical versions of that. Moses in the desert eating bugs. It's like the pillar of fire and all that stuff is probably just a metaphor for following that voice. And sometimes the voice will say crazy shit that doesn't make any sense. But then also you have to be careful too, because sometimes you do have to do things you don't want to do. Sometimes doing things you don't want to do leads you to things you do want to do. So it's very confusing, isn't it? But obviously, whatever the fuck this job was just terrible. What was the job?
You didn't say. Has there ever been a cool job or something like that you've turned down? It's like, that's not the road I want to go down.
Oh, well, I mean, sometimes people will say things to me. Sometimes I'll get invited to work on stuff with people. Like they want me to be a writer or something, or they want me to help develop a show or something like that. And I know that I don't have the time. Mm-hmm. And that even though like probably there could be some like more money involved or something, I know that like I would have to like not do my podcast or go on the road less or be with the kids less or something like that. And so I will say no to it. But I'm lucky. I mean, I'm in a position where I can do that. You know, when I was like fucking broke. I was a dishwasher at fucking Chili's. It felt like, I'd take any job I could get because I needed money to eat. So, and I didn't have the luxury of saying no to a job. Like if somebody was like, well, you wash dishes here, I'd be like, yeah, absolutely. I'll totally wash dishes. I need money. I got to pay rent. That's a horrible feeling when you don't know if you can make rent, So this person, it sounds like they're in a sort of luxury position that they could even say no.
Alex Lore had a cool job.
I used to be a Soviet assassin, but they stopped reimbursing my that's bullshit. But they stopped reimbursing my travel expenses, and I quit. Now I work at a grocery store as the front door greeter. But do you like it, Alex? That's the real question. Are you actually like engaging with people like you really are happy there at the store? And did you take any of your training as an assassin and apply it to your job as a door greeter? Because I imagine there's a lot of skills you learned as a Soviet assassin that were great greeting people at a grocery store. I'm sure that if you're a successful assassin, you've got to like seem friendly. That's the best kind of assassin. Is like very likable, somebody you want to invite to baseball games and stuff.
Darren Blanco had a good one.
Duncan, does it hurt when you shapeshift? I'll tell you this, like it's actually shapeshifting is not so painful. Any of the shapeshifters listening know that. But going back to your previous form can be really annoying and painful. I mean, it just depends on what you're shapeshifting into too, by the way. Like, if you're doing a classic animal shapeshift and for whatever reason you shapeshift into like a mouse, I'm usually very happy to go back to the human form. That's fun. But if I shapeshift into something that's like more pleasurable than being human, that's one of the dangers of shapeshifting. Panda bear, for example. Have you done panda bear?
I can't shapeshift.
Oh, I thought you'd shapeshifted.
Mm-mm.
You do panda, you don't want to go back. A lot of pandas out there are not original pandas. They're humans that just are like, fuck it, I'm eating bamboo. I'm not going back. A lot of families out there without moms and dads who are now in a Chinese zoo, just happily eating fucking bamboo. It feels good to be a panda. Bamboo tastes so good when you're a panda. It's so satisfying. Every level, the crunch, the ASMR, the taste, the way it makes you feel. And you can fall off of shit. You're clumsy, but it doesn't hurt. It feels good to fall off of shit. It's like everything's kind of a waterbed. So it's tough to go from panda to human, tough to go from dolphin to human. Easy to go from most birds back to human. Birds, for whatever reason, are pretty shitty and miserable. And that might shock you. But once you understand bird song, you realize that you would rather not know what they were saying. A lot of them are brutally racist. And just it's like, imagine if like 4chan poll, like that's almost every bird tweet is some version of like that, a post. And some of them are interesting. Some of them are insightful. A lot of them are just fucking crazy. And they love it when squirrels get run over, which is awful to me. So I'm always glad to go back from bird to human.
Just to clarify, I can shapeshift, but my wife does not allow me to shapeshift anymore. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
That's a real red flag, dude.
Well, I kept shapeshifting into my grandfather in the middle of making love, and she didn't like that.
That's fucked up.
On her part or my part?
On her part.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
She should be honored by that.
Yeah.
And it's like, I want you to witness what my grandmother witnessed.
Yeah.
I want you to witness the ancestors.
Mm-hmm.
My wife will not let me keep my form. I mean, that does hurt my feelings a little bit. And it's weird because she usually has me like shapeshift into NBA players and stuff. All right. Any other, like, what else? What about me? What about my body? No problem. My gimp was incinerated at a Great White concert along with my boater safety certificate. Dude, I don't want to like darken the thing, and I don't want to seem like an old fucking asshole and get all preachy and shit. But why are you taking your gimp out to concerts? Like, what's wrong with you? That sucks. That's so shitty to do to your gimp. That's shitty to do to everybody around. So performative. I hate that. I hate it when people. I don't mind when babies cry on a plane, but anytime someone brings their fucking gimp on the plane and it starts whimpering, like I get so mad. I can't believe they let gimps fly. Put the fucking thing below, dude. Why are you bringing your gimp on a plane? First class, a gimp in first class? I saw that once. Some fucking asshole brought his gimp up first fucking class. The gimp starts whimpering. The whole fucking flight, gimp whimpers are the worst whimpers. They're that just so annoying and so like, don't do that, man. I'm honestly self-banned 5 minutes. Don't bring your gimp out and forget about any certification or whatever. You should feel bad. 10-minute self-ban. I'm actually mad at you. Oh my God. Call me Clef. I feel like I graduated from Maharaji College. I've listened to hundreds of hours of the Ram Dass lectures and have probably heard every story Krishna Das in the satsang has told about him. Has this ever been you? Well, I'll tell you. So what you're talking about is, I guess you could say like Bhakti yoga is the best way to put it. So Bhakti yoga has traditions within it or practices. And in Bhakti yoga, one of the practices of Bhakti yoga is telling stories about the guru or telling stories about Hanuman or telling stories about whatever the particular deity is that they are connecting to. And so different temples have different deities. Not all Hare Krishna temples have like Krishna deities, or they have various forms of Krishna at the temple, and they all have different mythologies attached to them. And so I think what you're talking about is like observing this practice. And the practice is telling stories about Maharaji. And so, at some point, before you realize that what you're looking at is not just like people telling the same story over and over again, but what you're actually looking at is a practice that shows up in all forms of Bhakti yoga, then it might make a little bit more sense. Otherwise, you're like, why do they keep telling this story over and over? Because when you're basically in Bhakti yoga, the idea is you are trying to fix all of your senses onto the divine presence. And so, in Bhakti yoga, there are gurus, and Maharaji was a guru, and the guru and deity aren't quite separate. And that sounds crazy in the West, and obviously it's an easily exploitable tradition. But so when you hear these stories come up all the time, that's what it is. It's their practice, actually, and they're engaging their senses in the hearing about the divine, talking about the divine. It's why there's pictures of Maharaji everywhere, or Hanuman, and you're engaging your eyes, incense, your nose, kirtan, you're singing the names of God. All these things are part of this like ancient practice of cultivating a connection with the transcendent. And so that's what you are experiencing. And in any, and I don't know if you're even complaining about it or not, but in any tradition, there's a burn. There is a fucking burn. I think in the Hare Krishna it's called it anartha nivritti, but it's like if you start really seriously taking up some practice, it's not like you're walking down like a garden path. It starts burning up your ego, and there's places where it really burns. It hurts. It can feel boring. It can challenge you. It can make you feel crazy. It can make you like all of these aspects of it are not pleasant, or can start feeling stultifying. And you just keep doing it. And then over time that changes. But I think that's what you're talking about. I'm sure, yeah. I don't like hearing people tell the same story over and over again. I get bored as fuck. Like, especially like when the comedian part of me kicks in when I'm at a spiritual retreat and I'm thinking of the performance more than what they're saying or something. Like, I know, here comes a punchline. I know what that is. Wow, that didn't hit. And I notice the timing of some of these stories, but I look at it from a comedic perspective. I realize there's a rhythm to it, and it's got its own performative aspect that I'm always interested in. But this is the sort of the practice itself.
I know this isn't what you were talking about right now, but maybe Trump just hit back. Tesla's in free fall. The stock down like 14%.
It's so funny if over the course of this podcast, it's really, really funny. And somehow over the course of this, suddenly suddenly his satellites just start fucking crashing. You know, suddenly like they just stop working. Again, like, you know, this is what I'm. Okay, I'm going to say two things. It's going to piss everybody off. Number one, I like Elon Musk. I do. I'm sorry, I do. Elon Musk, to me, is a really fascinating character. And I like him for a lot of different reasons. I like his audacity. I think it's really cool that somebody with it, that the richest person on earth is doing such insane shit. I don't judge him because I feel like if I had that much money, I would be doing insane shit too. And he's doing a lot of things that I would do if I had that much money. I would not get engaged in the federal government. That was a fuck up. But I would be doing ketamine all the fucking time. You think if I had control over a fleet of rockets, I wouldn't be doing ketamine? Dude, yeah, I respect that. You know what else I'd be doing? I'd be playing Diablo in my private plane. And honestly, if I wasn't married and didn't have a bunch of fucking kids, I would probably be trying to like win Grimes back. You know, so a lot of things he's doing, I connect to. Like it just makes sense from a lunatic perspective. He seems to be kind of like a gonzo oligarch, and I like that about him. I don't like some of the things he's doing. I see as a tragic errors, like, and also weirdly naive. I think it's a tragic error that he hitched his wagon to the federal government, and it feels like that was like that to me means he's probably less cynical than I am in that regard. And I think it's cool he tried. I know a lot of people hate the shit he did, and a lot of people disagree with what he did. But if you sort of stop judging the actions and just kind of look more at like the person, it all sort of makes sense. Like this is like, he seems kind of like alien. You know, I don't think he's got the social skills that a lot of us have. And I don't think that he's political at all. And that's something I really like about him too, is because he isn't doing political shit. He's not trying to win people's affection. He just seems to be like, he has some very strong sense of here's what to do. He seems to have a very rational mind, and he seems to not be very good at analyzing certain systems. And he definitely doesn't give a fuck about his companies, which you've got to kind of admire in the sense that, like, you know, one of the great critiques or mysteries when it comes to super wealthy people is like, why do they keep trying to make money? They already have all the money. What's the point? Like, why do you keep trying to make more? What do you need it for? At this point, aren't you just like continuing a game of Monopoly way longer than you need to? At the end of 3 hours of Monopoly, it's like saying, well, you guys can keep playing. I'll print more money and I'll give it to you. I'm going to win that money, but let's play Monopoly forever. So to me, what's curious is like all of these things that he's doing, tweets included from today, don't coincide with someone who's trying to have a profitable company. There's a self-destructive quality to it. And also, I must say, having been addicted to ketamine in the past for many years, one of the rules I established for myself, and I would advise you to do the same if you're someone who does ketamine, is don't tweet on ketamine. Don't go online on ketamine. Whatever you think you should say publicly on ketamine, wait till you come down. You can write it down. You can save a draft. And then when you come down, if it still makes sense, go ahead and post it. And I get the feeling that he doesn't have that rule for himself. And it feels like that's what's happening right now. That's what if I had to roll the dice, what you're looking at is somebody who had some idea that things work differently than they do, experiencing the blowback, which is interesting that he is experiencing that now. It's just something you sort of gradually learn. It's upsetting him. He feels embarrassed. And he's like probably like, you know, if I had to guess, I mean, I don't know for sure. It just feels like he's probably high as a fucking kite right now. And he's like up in his private jet tweeting, just fuck it. fuck it. It feels like a fuck it moment. You know, and some of those fuck it moments make sense when you're like, you know, using a dissociative anesthetic and merging with other dimensions. But damn, dude, you do come down. You do come down. You got to go back and look at those tweets. That's not a fun moment.
You want to know the reason why he said that tweet? What Trump said on his Truth Social? He put, Elon was wearing thin. I asked him to leave. I took away his EV mandate that forced everyone to buy electric cars that nobody else wanted. That he knew months that I was going to do, and he just went in all caps crazy.
This is so embarrassing. Just stop arguing. Dude, what are you guys doing? It's so, like, this is so absurd. By the way, can you scroll back? Where is it? Somebody said it's cringe that I like Elon Musk. Self-ban, 5 minutes. I acknowledge the cringe. I get it. I know why. Listen, I'm a 50-year-old dude. I love video games and space. And I'm sorry. I know it's cringy. Like, I do understand it's why you small-minded fools think it's cringy. But I'm sorry, man. I mean, I like sci-fi. I like do I like wish that like our version of Tony fucking Stark had social skills and like, you know, yeah. But like a dude making fleets of e-cars, making it so that people can have internet all over the fucking planet, building massive fucking rockets that theoretically could help us colonize the galaxy and who also like plays video games and like seemingly loves one of my favorite psychoactive substances. You got to understand, like, it's hard for me to not like that person because I like their personality is like not exactly like perfect. Sorry. What do you want? I'm not going to hate somebody because you're supposed to. Da la Follette. Elon going to Mars used to be cool, but now I'm worried that he's going there and going to sink the planet trying. Come on. I mean, the reality of it is like you have an example, if we're in a simulator, of a character in the wrong, like going off the level they're supposed to be in. Like, I'm not saying stay in your lane. I'm saying he's literally like, it's a character that's free roaming through a massive multiplayer online role-playing game. He's got all the credits and he's like, you know, just disrupting shit. And that's fascinating. Like, you got to separate your, like, of course, like you can look at things through the political lens and come up with a million reasons to hate anybody you want who's engaging in some kind of activity that is political in nature. Like, you could, it just depends on what you look through. So if you want to look at Elon Musk through your, if you're a left liberal lens, absolutely. You could find every reason to hate his fucking guts. But also, if you're incapable of looking at all the other shit too, and thinking, like, if this wasn't reality, if this was in a book, it would be fascinating. If you can't do that, then you're missing out on the bigger picture. Or if you can't zoom out enough to recognize the hole on here that's happening and how absurd it is, then to me, it just means you got to widen the circumference of your perceptions a little bit. You don't have to don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. God, this professor at the school I went to, that was one of the main things I took away from liberal arts school, was don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Filter data. Filter data. You have to build your own filter so that you can, like, in other words, yes, you are supposed to hate certain people. That's hip. If you don't hate this person, you're an asshole. Yes, that is very true. And you can almost find a menu of who to hate. And Musk is at the top of the menu right now with the like liberals, people on the left. But to think that you can't hate and like someone at the same time is crazy. Like, it just seems like a real non-complex understanding of how humans work. Or that you can't hate someone, then like them, then hate them, then like them, then not care about them, then like them. It's just, why reduce yourself to one thing? Take anybody. Take Jeffrey fucking Dahmer. Like, I always go back to that. Like, I could find things that I like about Jeffrey Dahmer. I like his glasses. You know what I mean? Like, is he a horrific, awful, one of the worst serial killers of all time? Absolutely. Horrible human. Glad he's dead. Ted Bundy. I can find things I like about Ted Bundy. John Wayne Gacy. I can actually find things in this monster that seem kind of interesting. You know, it doesn't mean I approve of serial killers. And I could do that with anybody, pretty much. And if you can't do that, you got to ask yourself, are you fucking blind? There's always something interesting about everybody. Doesn't mean you approve. I remove your ban. You can talk. Yeah, there you go. Maddie General, clowns are cool. Thank you, Mike Mortis. I love you back. That could be Elon. Elon, I wish he was here. God, that'd be great. I could really save him a headache later. Let's see. Doing ketamine is for the children's burn patients while we use Brillo pads to scrub their skin off, or really obese, fragile old people. I'm not a big fan, but it has benefits. Absolutely. Abso-fucking-lutely. But why? I'm curious, like AF 1892, I guess for kids it's so safe, right? That's why they do it, is it's like relatively safe compared to other anesthetics. Is that why? Because you're probably giving them a big blast of IMK. Like, you don't want to be there at all. If you're, that's a crazy job you have, AF 1852. That is a crazy job you have. God bless people like you. While assholes like me are fucking yapping about nonsense, you're actually like scrubbing burn victims' skin to make them better.
Joey wants to know, did you quit?
Joey, yeah, I had to quit ketamine, my friend. I can't do ketamine anymore. I'm a dad. I can't fucking do ketamine. There's just no way. You know, honestly, like, it wasn't just like parenting reasons. I don't know what happened. I stopped liking it. It's crazy. You know, I went through a period where I used to like opiates. You know, I used to like taking Vicodin. And now I just feel kind of woozy on it. I don't like it anymore. It's weird. I guess I got lucky. But I was like fully addicted. Like fully fucking addicted. Like it's the worst addiction I ever had in my life outside of nicotine pouches. But at least with nicotine pouches, you can walk. Like it was scary. Addiction is fucking scary. It was crazy. You become a little rat. Hiding your little bags of drugs everywhere and shit. Like, it was very creepy. And ketamine is like, the effect of it is so weird because it fucks with time. And so like you just can go into these like benders that go on and on and on and on. And you start getting acutely aware of when your ketamine's running out. Oh, hate that feeling. I still have it because I'm addicted to these things. So like when I'm like, oh, I gotta go buy more soon. It's so embarrassing. But ketamine is like, dude, you can't be a parent and be doing ketamine. Like, you just can't. I mean, aside from the fact it's fucking illegal, I can't have any shit around the house that would risk anything. It's just like, you're a volunteer. Like, you're a first responder as a parent. You know, they choke. Kids fucking choke, man. You know, you got to be ready. Like, everything can go from like the best dinner you ever had in your life to like suddenly like you're on the precipice of like your life being destroyed and your heart being broken. And like the idea that you're going to be fucked up on ketamine, you can't. So, but also I just like, I don't know what happened. I was in love with it for a while because I would go into these like visionary states. It was incredible. But then it just, I to even get into the kale, my tolerance was so high that I would have had to start shooting it up. And I just didn't take that step, or I'd have to start doing like so much of it. So yeah, it just went away. Thank God.
I noticed ketamine messes with your personality, says Joey.
Well, yeah, man. It definitely messes with your personality. I talked to Hamilton Morris about it on the podcast because I noticed like it was like creating this kind of like, I don't know how to put it. Like I stopped being as critical of shit that I made on it, which was great at first. But then I don't know how to put it, but some of the I was too eager to post things that I shouldn't have posted or that weren't ready or developed or, it's kind of like if you look at it from the way from Buddhist cosmology, you've got earth and sky, and you need to balance those two things out. Sky mind, earth mind. It's very sky mind. So there's people who just wear diapers because of ketamine. They piss themselves. They fuck their bladders up and they don't care. They keep doing it. Like because you are sort of slipping out of your body and like shifting into some alternate state. Earth realm stuff starts becoming a little less important to you, and not in the way like with heroin or something. It's hard to explain other than, yeah, your personality is going to fucking change for sure, and not for the better. At least that was my experience. I think it's great for treating depression and stuff, like like doing it like once a month with therapy, but like doing it the way I was doing it every day, all day long is, yeah, it definitely like had some negative impacts. I think that I've recovered mostly from it, but sometimes I think, because I was talking to Owsley Stanley's widow, and she was just saying it's so bad for you neurologically. Like it really does like cause changes that are just fucked up. She's like, just think about how you feel after when you're not on it. Does that seem good? So yeah, I'm glad I kicked it. Does Elon have, we got to save the world right now and start a peace cult type of mania with better resources? Yeah, I would say so. It does smack of that a little bit. It's the Messianic thing. But if like you end up, if you end up as the richest person on earth, like think how that's going to fuck with your head. That's going to fuck with your head. And you are going to feel an obligation, right? Like it would be weird if you didn't. You are going to feel, and you're going to tell yourself a story about why you got there. You probably, and you're doing ketamine, so you're definitely like talking to like entities. So, you're going to have this, like, it's like normal Messianic psychedelic sort of like I'm Jesus stuff. You could at least like when you come down, you look around your fucking filthy place and you're like, I'm definitely not Jesus. But when you come off of ketamine, you're the richest person on earth, and you've been talking to some alien telling you your job is to save the earth, but you are the richest person on earth. Like that's really what, like you're going to like probably do some embarrassing shit.
David wants to know, you ever boofed Toad in a full moon?
I don't do Toad, and I wouldn't boof a Toad either. I don't want to do that. Hell no. I don't want to do combo, and I don't like MEO DMT. Fuck that. I don't like the way they get that shit out of the Toad either.
How did they get it out of the Toad?
Sodomy. No joke.
Are you serious?
Look up extraction of bufatine. Sonoran Toad, extraction of Sonoran Toad venom. Oh, that's showing how to synthesize it. Like, look up Sonoran Toad.
Sonoran?
I think that's what it's called, the Sonoran Toad. Okay, there's that sweetie. I'll get you. That little guy definitely has the look of like someone who's like like evolutionarily things fucked up. They seem kind of sad. The venom was supposed to keep people from fucking with it. Now look up Sonoran Toad.
Extraction?
Yeah, Sonoran Toad venom extraction. There you go. Pull up that one, the one with the poor little guy attached to the ropes. Right there.
Oh.
Dude, are you fucking kidding me? You're going to crucify a fucking little sweetie like that? You know what I mean? That's how they get the shit out of it, is they fucking tie it up. They fuck it up. Go down, scroll down to the right under there. Look at that poor guy. That's fucked up. I'm sorry, but no thanks. And I read they put like sticks in its ass. I just don't want that. I don't want to be like merging with a godhead because something got a toothpick shoved up its asshole. No thanks. Spiral is saying that's so they can let it go afterwards. You know what, man? This is what the aliens say that abduct people and rectally probe them. We let them go after. What's the big deal?
Do you think it's so they could trip? That's what they were doing?
Wouldn't be surprised we secrete some shit that gets them high. It would make absolute sense to me. But it's like what you just said, well, they let him go after. It's like, yeah, a lot of people let people go after fucking shoving stuff up their ass. But does that necessarily make it okay? I let him go, Judge. Yeah, I caught the dude, took him into my apartment, tied him up and shoved a flashlight into his asshole, licked the fear sweat off his back, and then sent him back in the streets. David Moore saying, Duncan, this is starting to sound personal. Look, okay, it happened to me. I've never told anybody. But yeah, I was rectally probed. Listen, I mean, there are apparently, Jesse, I think there's ways to synthesize MEO-DMT, by the way. I don't think you have to like get it from the frog, but you like people who are into that stuff, they will like kind of proudly declare that this was extracted from a toad. And so I don't, again, this is my own feeling. Like, I think people have had their lives changed for the better by that stuff. Having done it once, a synthetic version of it, and like doing it the wrong way and irresponsibly, I will forever hate it. And that's on me. That's not its fault. But also I've heard shit about how it can really cause PTSD and stuff. It's a very powerful, it's like giving yourself brain surgery of all the psychedelics, you know, and having personally tasted that experience. And no thanks. It's not a fun one. No thanks. Not that all psychedelics should be fun. It's just like, nah. The esoteric one is saying, I think if I had too much endogenously, I probably would never come back. Yeah, that's what I hear about it. People, when they come down from it, they're wobbled by it. They weren't ready for it. And the people who are administering it, it's like a lot of people administering it, I don't think or like have a contingency plan for that.
YJ wants to know, how did Terrence McKenna do it so much?
Well, I think YJ, Terrence McKenna did DMT, and we're talking about MEO-DMT. So the DMT is the visionary dimethyltryptamine. MEO-DMT is what happens when an oxygen molecule apparently is just attached in there, and that one little difference creates. Whereas with DMT, there's a U. So there you are in some kind of alternate reality where populated by like entities that you can communicate with and that seem happy to see you or have feelings about you being there. MEO-DMT is a depersonalization. So you blend in with the whole universe. People say it brings them to the Godhead, or as the hippies say, source. And so your identity is annihilated very quickly. And there isn't that component of I'm still a me. And that oxygen molecule is all it takes. So McKenna is known for his mostly like talking about DMT. I don't, in fact, can't recall him talking about MEO-DMT, actually. I'm sure he did, but when he's talking about the self-transforming machine house, that's talking about DMT. We can do a few more, then I gotta go. God, time flies when we're doing these. I love doing these, man. I don't like it. This is my favorite thing. It's so fun. I don't know if it's good is the problem. I think I need to guess, but like, this is really fun. It's creating an actual, like, bit of a internal conflict in my own mind. Cause like interacting with you guys and rambling is a delight. So I'm having to sort of like wrestle in my own mind about what to do about this, because I do love interviewing people and talking to people, but this is so fun.
Have you ever been to the shadow realm?
I don't know what you mean by that, man. I mean, I've certainly been to the hell realms, you know, the shadow realm. Look, I don't think you even have to do psychedelics to go to what I imagine you're referring to, but in fact, you definitely don't. The psychedelics are just like an obvious way to get there, but certainly I've been to the shadow fucking realm because I've been super depressed. Benjamin is saying the shadow realm is the same thing as aliens taking you to the mothership. Look, I don't know. I mean, I think when it comes to realms, there are probably, like, it's easy to think that, like, this is one of the things Terrence McKenna said, which I think is one of the more profound things I heard him say, which is at any given moment, half the planet is having like massive hallucinations because the sun isn't in the sky anymore. And that's true. Half the planet right now is in varying degrees of sleep. And in that sleep, you have like hallucinatory episodes called dreaming. And so We all have had nightmares. We've all had dreams where we're in a shadow realm, a hell realm, a heavenly realm, where we feel like we're talking to angels or dead loved ones. So, and then you can be stone cold sober and you find yourself looking around the world and thinking, is this hell? Am I in hell? Everything seems so awful. You look at people like on the streets, you look at somebody like with schizophrenia walking around, like jerking off. Nobody's doing anything to help them. No one will even give them a hand job, much less just like a Kleenex to clean up their jizz. And you're like, what kind of world am I in? That this man has to like give himself a hand job on the street. What? Because he's like, doesn't like have the beauty standards of people. Is that why no one's jerking him off? And then you think, well, but I'm not jerking him off. So am I a hypocrite? Who am I? You know, Mr. Rogers said, look for the helpers. Where are the helpers in that case? Nobody. He's just having to do it himself with this filthy, grubby hand. And it's sad. And you think, is this hell? Am I in hell? And then you could be in that, someone else could be walking down that exact same street. And maybe that's their fetish, like seeing like junkies jerk off. And like, man, this is fucking heaven. I love this city. Look at that free peep show right here on the street in the middle of the day. And so it's all of these things, they coexist. It just depends on where you're sitting perceptually. You know, so the shadow realm and heaven, hell, and all of them, they all exist at the exact same time. They're all here right now. The past, present, future, all here right now. And if you forget that, then you lose the ability to choose where you want to go. So if this is true and all these things exist simultaneously, as above, so below, as they say, then that means that you can navigate just by staying in the exact same place. You can dial in these different levels of experience, and you definitely can. Psychedelics are good for that because you kind of learn how to do that in a kind of overemphasized, flashy way. You know, you realize when you're on LSD that you could actually shift your consciousness, and that will affect what you're seeing and the way things are happening. If you don't realize that, you have a bad trip. But you know, that's kind of like a entry level mystical lesson. And you can do that right now. You can dial in any level of experience that you want. I mean, think about it. Anything you're experiencing is happening because of your own mind. You get a sports car, you get a private plane, you fucking like hook up with the hottest person on earth. You're experiencing something related to connecting with a phenomena, but it's still just your mind. All the ingredients are already there, pointing to a possibility that you could activate that shit anytime you want it. That underneath all of your like predilections towards cynicism, anger, whatever, is like paradise right there. And you could just dial it in. You could just do it. And that's like an amazing thing. And it really is kind of a sad situation that everybody seems to think that the way to feel happy is to achieve, obtain, rearrange. That's sad. If in fact, you don't really have to do that at all. It's already there in you. That's crazy to think about. Like, you don't want necessarily to own a house. You want the feeling of owning a house. You don't want millions of dollars in the bank. You want the feeling of security that offers you. You don't want to be famous. You want the experience of like unconditional love from the world. Like, if people could dial those things in minus the moving shit around or getting lucky, then all that other stuff wouldn't mean anything. In fact, people like the oligarchs would seem like idiots because for them to be happy, they've got to like have this like fancy ass shell called their mansion. And they've got to have all these stupid configurations of matter, which are their fancy things, their golden toilets. And then they've got to have like some version of a harem or something. Like, they really need a lot to be happy. And then you see them and they don't seem happy at all. Even with all that stuff, they're fucking tweeting stupid shit. It's like, clearly that doesn't work. So the matter rearrangers who are really good at it, we call them rich people. But what if you don't need to do that at all? Which seems to be the general sort of teaching coming from a lot of these people like Ram Dass and stuff. And it's something to contemplate, even if it's not true. It's worth exploring. Because God knows, if every single one of you, I guarantee you could make yourself feel like shit right now. No problem. You've got something that's bothering you. And if you really bring that up in your own mind and start thinking about it, something you did in the past that makes you feel bad or something you're worried about in the future, you can probably get your body odor to change. People talk about these yogis have the ability to change the temperature in their hands, one side of the hand lower, one side of the hand higher. And that seems astounding. They can like they can make their heart skip a beat apparently. Oh, that seems astounding. But do you know what I can do? I can get in my room and I can start playing Baldur's Gate 3. And I can decide to attack a group of I don't know, what are they fucking called? Fire elementals. Before my party's ready and I've gotten them appropriately geared to do the attack. And I can fight for an hour in this stupid fucking game and watch my party get wiped out. And then I could smell myself and my body odor changed with just playing a stupid game. It's crazy. Like if we can change our body odor by just what we're thinking about. You can get cortisol to release. It changes the way you smell. So every human is very good at changing physiologically by inducing negative thought patterns or negative experiences, implying that you could do I don't know if you could make yourself smell better, but you could definitely alter your experience just by realigning the configuration of your thoughts. Any experience you're having is reinterpretable. You could live in a world that's hell or the shadow realm, or you could live in paradise theoretically. And the exploration of this is going to save you a lot of fucking time if you think the way to get there is by making $50 billion.
So in the last 10 minutes, Elon says that he's canceling a government contract for a SpaceX Dragon spacecraft for the government and for the impeachment of Donald Trump. And also he's putting out all this Epstein stuff as well right now. So he's going off right now on Twitter.
Guys, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? One thing that's certain is in the old days when a lord went crazy in their fucking tower, nobody knew. You know, like maybe there'd be some hangings that didn't make any sense, but nobody knew. Now we can watch feudal lords have nervous breakdowns in real time. And that, friends, means that we are in heaven. It's pretty cool. You know, what's that saying? He who diggeth the pit shall fall in it. I mean, it's crazy. We can watch a Shakespearean level moment here in real time. You can watch the way that, like, quite often the hand that drives the dagger into the back is your own fucking hand. So, behold, go on Elon Musk's Twitter. Why not? Dive in to the modern garish side effects of having an invasive technological superintelligence appear on the planet. The oligarchs are having nervous breakdowns live. It's amazing. This is Game of Thrones level shit. It's like the king of the fucking North tweeting shit about Cersei. Basically. Great. Enjoy it. Thank you for listening to me ramble for all this time. I will see you next week. Next week, we have a guest. I kind of want to live stream it too. I want to start live streaming the guests. This is so fun. Be careful out there, friends. God bless you. Everything's going to be fine. And I love you. Until next time, Hare Krishna.